Divination, I'm mission. Trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transition mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life. Making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Transition, I'm on a mission, I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transition in my life. On a mission, on a mission.
Hey, welcome to Alchemizing Energy. Once again, we are here with our Sunday Principles of Ifa Sunday night build. Now, before I get into Baba Yashabaya and his assessment of divination, the lunar calendar, I first want to play a video that I like, when I first got into Ifa, this is the video I saw. And I want him to break down any misconceptions or truth about what this video might hold. So I want to play it and I want to get his opinion on what this video, what's real, what's the truth, or what may not be the truth. Okay, so let's get into it. All right.
We were wrestling with the pandemic, of course, but more importantly, our entire nation was searching for its soul in the wake of George Floyd's death. And then there was this.
Beyonce released a new single this past Friday on Juneteenth, and it's called Black Parade. The lyrics, let me tell you, wow.
With references to Yoruban deities like Oshun and Yemaya, it was clear that
Beyonce is pushing way more than Black Lives Matter ideology here.
Some people celebrated it, seeing it as overturning 400 years of repression of the Yoruban faith.
This makes me feel bad as hell!
Slaves brought the Yoruban faith over from Africa, but in the New World, their beliefs were labeled satanic, demonic, and primitive, and driven underground.
But Beyonce was outright like, oh, Sean, yeah, my, yeah. You heard me? Yeah, my, yeah. It was just nice hearing someone just being upfront with it and not trying to hide it.
But not everybody was happy with the song, including many in the Black community, Black Christians in particular.
Beyonce, I'm so disappointed in you, honey. Using your influence to associate authentic Blackness with magic is just wrong. Why do I need witchcraft or African spirituality to feel Black when Christianity is equally as Black?
But this is not just about Beyonce. Beyonce is just one of millions finding strength and meaning in the Yoruban religion. By some counts, this is the 6th largest religion in the world, with as many as 100 million followers.
Growing numbers of African-American women in Maryland and across the nation are leaving traditional church worship. They are college-educated professional women who've chosen to believe that theirs is a truer example of worship.
I think you probably know this by now, but for me, all religions are inherently interesting. I love looking at the ideas that animate people and bring meaning to their lives. But the Yoruban religion is especially rich and full of wonders. I've only tapped the surface of the songs, the stories, chants, poems, and wisdom, and I'm continually blown away by the richness of the tradition. In all of the religions I study, I always have this little voice in the back of my head saying, they might be right. And when I study the Yoruba, I sometimes hear that voice just getting louder and louder. It's just that compelling and interesting. So what is it? Well, we could start with the Orishas. Ori meaning consciousness, Sha meaning protector. Different traditions have a different total number. Some have only 7, others have 401, some have 601, and some have 3,200. Regardless of the tradition, each Orisha is associated with some element of nature and has multiple associations with colors, stones, trees, emotions, major life events, basically everything in nature. As Stephen Prothero says so beautifully, they provide a map to every mountain and valley of human experience. and every moment and every space is permeated with spiritual power. Oludumare is the high god, whose name literally means the source of all creation that does not become empty. Awesome, I love that. He is omnipotent, transcendent, all-knowing, both good and evil, and as the source of energy, not he really, more like they, beyond all gender, and he's really beyond all human form. So Oludumare might be better imagined as something like this. But he did not create our world. There are several creation stories. In one of these, Oludumare needed to call upon the creative powers of Oshun, the river goddess, Orisha of sex, love, and fertility. And with the power of water, the rivers, she brought life into the world. But like the water, the life was formless. So it was left to Obatala to mold humans out of the earth. Now, this was great, but the humans complained. They said, there is nothing that is unequal among us. We are all the same language, same possessions. There is no variety in anything in our lives. Why are we all the same? So hearing this, Oludumare called on Eshu, the trickster, to make life more interesting. Eshu put on his special hat, red on one side, black on the other, that made him appear like a man dressed in red from one side and a man dressed in black on the other. Walking right in between people, the people on either side of him started arguing about who he was and what they were seeing. And this is the origin of all the multitude of differences we see today. One of the most interesting things about the Yoruban religion is that while many religions focus on the afterlife, it's really the pre-life that matters the most here. It's probably my favorite part of the Yoruban religion. So I really geeked out on this and I made this really elaborate PowerPoint. I'm going to show you. It's actually not just a PowerPoint, it's a full-on animation that I made in PowerPoint, which is pretty crazy. But I just really wanted to help you dive in and understand the Yoruban view of life and death and the pre-life and the afterlife. So here's how it goes. Before you enter the world, your Ori, your divine spirit, comes before this trinity of Orishas. Along with Olodumare and Eshu is Arunmila, the god of wisdom and destiny. He is Eshu's opposite. He represents order, wisdom, and peace, while Eshu represents chaos, action, and power. Isn't this just the most awesome trinity? So when you come before the trinity, Olodumare will breathe life into you. Then you choose your destiny, your personality, your purpose, and even the day you will die. If you've ever seen the movie Soul, it's kind of like that. There's a pre-life of souls figuring out who they will be and looking for their spark. And though the creators of the movie have never said so, I think it's likely that they are borrowing quite a bit from the Yoruban tradition here. So once you get your spark, your purpose, you start your life. Your Ori carries your destiny and your true life's purpose from the moment you were born. But we lose touch with our Ori and lose our spark. We get distracted by the demands of our day-to-day lives and lose our true purpose. The world around us is awash with spiritual power, and not all of it is good. Ajogun, these malevolent spirits, threaten us at every moment. The Orishas are all around us, in the water, the rocks, and in the heavens. They can help protect us, and more importantly, help us recover our destiny and true life's purpose. But somehow, we have to connect to them. So to connect to the Orishas, you can go to the Babalawo, a Yoruban priest or diviner who is a master of the Ifa tradition. The Babalawo begins by addressing your Ori directly and says, you know the mystery. He then turns to his divining tray, which embodies the wisdom of Arunmila and the Orishas, and says, you know the mystery. And then he says with awesome humility, I know nothing. Because he's really just a medium. So using pine nuts or another divining device, one of 256 signatures is revealed. He then recounts the Odu that's associated with that signature. The Odu are these chants, songs, poems, and stories. The full collection of Odu is 4 times the size of the Bible, so this is a massive corpus. The Babalawo will recount at least 4 Odu, but it's ultimately up to you to decide which story or chant matters and why. They have this wonderful saying that the Ori is the greatest Orisha. Through divination, worship, and meditative veneration, you can reconnect with your Ori, find your spark, recover your destiny, and start living true to your life's true purpose. The powers of the universe will start to align in When you die, you do it all over again. Like Buddhism, they affirm the idea of reincarnation. And there are a lot of interesting parallels here with Buddhism. Not only do they both believe in reincarnation, but in Buddhism, we are constantly reincarnated onto the wheel of life that is full of suffering. Buddha points the way out through his 8-fold path of perfecting our souls through meditation and mindfulness to reach nirvana, a state of oneness with the creative energies of the world. In the same way, some Yoruban claim that we can eventually become one in spirit with Olodumare, the source of all creation. But also like Buddhism, most people don't have such lofty goals in their day-to-day life. Instead, they come to the Babalawo for practical matters. They want better health, more love, or just some more money. They are not aiming for the afterlife. They're just trying to live their best life here and now. And this rich world of meaning, where spirits and the power of Ashe are all around, is the very fabric of their lives. So let's look at some real imagery now. So here's a Babalawo using pine nuts for divination. He tries to scoop them from one hand to another, and the number of pine nuts remaining tells him what to write in the sand. When he's done, he'll have the signature for the Odu. Now these Odu are not just meaningful, they are beautiful as well.
The ordinary Yoruba patronizes the Ifa priests not only because of their belief in the predictions and pronouncements of Ifa, but also because of the aesthetic enjoyment which they derive from listening to the chanting of a form of poetry which is exceedingly rich in style and language.
He will then recommend that a gift be given to your Orisha. So if you're trying to connect with Obatala, whose color is white, he might recommend a white chicken. But to deliver the gift, you need the help of Eshu. So you'll also need to throw in a bit of tobacco for him as well.
A portion is offered to Eshu, the male counterpart of Oshun, and placed in a secret place beneath the stairs of this Odin home.
This is sometimes called sacrifice.
11 people were charged with cruelty to livestock animals after Bexar County deputies were called out to a ritual involving animal sacrifices.
The only one that can complain about cruelty to animals is a vegan, because we're killing animals.
The group sacrificed a goat, 3 roosters, a pigeon, and some chickens, and had other animals ready. After ceremonies like this, Talamantes has said they'd cut the sacrificed animals up to cook up and eat in a ceremonial meal. They say some of that was already happening. The mistake in their eyes wasn't the sacrifices. It was leaving the garage door open for the neighborhood to see.
I don't know, it just kind of has like this bad tinge to it. So just think of it as a gift to the Orisha. Today, many Yoruba are establishing houses of worship that look a lot like a Christian church. They listen to sermons, they pray, and they sing songs that celebrate their culture and identity. They also do dances that call forth the powers of the Orisha.
The special Ifa dance steps with delightful variations are executed to the traditional Ifa music. The songs in the special Ifa tunes and melodies treat various subjects in praise of Ifa, gratitude for blessings, demand for favors, the joy of being a devotee, and assurance of continuity.
This is a form of spirit possession. And combined with the animal sacrifices, many Christian leaders see these rituals and ideas as demonic and satanic.
The fact that young people are moving towards traditional African spirituality and leaving the church, why are you concerned about this?
These people, they ought not to go back to what they have left or what their fathers have left. In the name of Jesus! Christianity brought a clear civilization, spiritually and physically. African spirituality is the same as Satanism or demonism.
But the people they're leading, the people in their congregations, often still see these diviners and practice at least some aspects of Yoruban religion. This is one of many spiritual battlegrounds in the world. And like all spiritual battlegrounds, it is of cosmic proportions. On the one hand, we have Christian leaders who are fearing for their souls and want to save them. On the other are millions of Africans who are fighting to hold on to their traditions.
Ifa was sent by God Olodumare to use his wisdom to administer the world. The society was peaceful in those days when people followed Ifa's directives. Foreign religions, Islam and Christianity, however, came and waged war against Ifa. But we do not wage war against any religion.
The cultural heritage being displayed here is very, very encouraging. It reminds me about our ancestors, the things that was left behind for us. But the Christianity want to destroy it.
From its origins in West Africa, this faith survived the Middle Passage, and it is being adopted and adapted by some Black Americans who find within it strength, power, and meaning.
To learn about our history and learn about traditions that put us on a pedestal, and I see people so quick to demonize it, it worries me for the future of, our people as a whole and the world.
I do call myself Oshun the Great in honor of Oshun, and I dye my hair in honor of Oshun.
You can tap into her energy because we could easily tap into different Orisha's energies.
I'm going to be speaking about Oshun and how she could actually help balance our solar plexus.
I hope you enjoy learning about the Yoruban tradition as much as I have. It's just one more window into another way of seeing and being in the world. And it
So what are your thoughts?
Another bad case of interpretation, blending in some sense of truth, because it keeps now you look at this is a European who has very little or no knowledge of the inner workings of Ifa, less alone the inner workings of the Yoruba people. What I saw and heard was the thing that would really mess a person up, because the problem is trying to blend the science and binary system of Ifa with the custom and tradition of a particular group. Remember, that is not Ifa. They call it religion. They can call it religion because they have religious practices. But Ifa is not a religion. It is a communication device to communicate with your celestial, your terrestrial and celestial being. They had a lot of things going on, a lot of things throwing. Those came out of a thing called a path of keys. You know, it's for instance, he talk about issue. Issue has 21 different paths. So it ain't just about Electba. There are 21 different paths. There's the issue called issue Odara, and the list goes on. So he's hitting and missing, and that's how people get confused. Not only that, you're talking about the Ori. The Ori is your inner head. What did he call it? What did he call it?
He said that your divine consciousness that knows, something like the consciousness that knows no other thing, something like that.
Yeah, but that come on. I'm pretty sure some of my Yoruba people that understand know the white boy's off. He's hidden. It's like anything else. You mix a little truth with myth and all that. But our problem is this. We no longer have to hide the origin behind Catholic saints, because every religion he mentioned has had a part in slavery with our people. And therefore, you got those who went over and practiced some forms of Islam, some form of Christianity, and Catholicism, and they blended it all in. Now you don't have a pure religion or pure science, because it is now polluted. You got all this about killing of the chickens and this, that, no. All that comes in, but that's not what it's about. Ifa is about elevating your character and knowing your purpose in life. It has nothing to do with a particular culture, because it transcends all cultures. I had the book out I was going to show today, but I'm going to give other things. So when I came into it, I went through the same thing. But as I went through, I learned that there's a difference between Ifa, science, and Yoruba traditions and customs. And you got to say, because you got other groups like the Igbo people and Beni, and not only Beni, you can go on and on, because the science transcends all, but the customs may vary. Why you got different, you got Mama Wati and all this, that, and other. These came out of traditions and customs. That is not Ifa. Ifa, we say, is a binary system to teach you how to communicate, a divination system. You may create a religion and put it into your religion, but Ifa is not religion. It's a way of life that you learn how to perfect yourself in your journey, if I make any sense. So no, I think the young man that could be very deceptive and confused, because he knows little or nothing about what goes on. And one of the things that people don't realize, that many of the so-called churches, especially holiness churches or Pentecost, they practice a thing of possession. It's the same thing. What's worse? You praying to a man who's supposed to die on the cross for sacrifice, or you putting up a goat. You're killing a goat for your misdeeds. That's a sign of non-responsibility. But if I teach you, your responsibility is you. I don't need to kill a goat to take care of something. I got to kill the goat in me, the stubbornness in me. And we all time miss the metaphysical, trying to bring it into a physical, terrestrial thing.
So does the goat represent the stubbornness? Like a goat is stubborn. So therefore, when you're doing that,
the goat also represents endurance, stability, getting things done, and he meets things head on. So he has many things that the goat represents. And even in Judaism, they call it the scapegoat. You got a goat that tie the sins between his horns and turn them free, and one they offer up. Everyone has a form of time to pass on responsibility. But Ifa teaches that we're responsible for our own actions, and these actions are the characteristics of certain things in us because we're connected to the earth. Everything in the earth is connected to us that live in this particular dimension. So we are part of the universe. Like it's not in a literal, in the 16 tools of Ifa. You say you are part of the universe in a literal, but not a figurative way. So everything that's in this universe is in us. And whatever it is that affects us, we have to find a way to put out a harness it and get the best out of it. Killing off all these animals, but everybody have their oral traditions, and they feel it's going to help. So if that's what you think, fine. But do not hold somebody because they don't do what you do. Now, one thing I like what the elders say is, Ifa does not attack other, they attack us. They don't have a clue about what's going on. They don't, because they're calling it demon. You want to demonize. You demonize the thing that you want to fight that you have no control over. You demonize things that you don't understand, and that's the problem. That's why I'm so glad that we're in a new dispensation, and we're taking a lot of things out. While I'm on, I want to thank you for bringing them, because we're showing people what you've been calling for the last 400 or 500 years is not Ifa. It is tradition, custom and tradition of a particular tribe, clan, or group that uses divination to communicate. Because without divination, how are they going to communicate? Then you add all these things into it. I mean, okay, say you say what? Well, in this old dude, we're gonna get into some of that later on. We need 43,000 calorie cells. Where in the hell are you gonna find 43,000 calorie cells to offer to an Orisha? The Orisha don't need no calorie cells, because it says in the 16 truths that the Orisha lives inside of you. Orishas live, so you're the walking, living embodiment of all of this. So why do you need to sacrifice? Then they turn around and eat the sacrifice. Either you're going to get rid of it or you're going to eat it.
Also, when you talk about the Orisha, right?
Yeah.
And you talk about sacrifice, I think that what the real thing is more or less behavior modification,
Yeah.
So at that time, I believe that what they tried to do was to create such of a crazy thing to change the behavior that you normally would do. Probably every day you get up, you take a poo, you do this, you brush your teeth. You do that every single day. All right, you need to do something different. So let me do something extreme to shake things up and to take you off your normal where you're headed right now. And that's what I believe it is.
Okay, the key word you said what? To modify your behavior. Right?
And I think that probably back then, they probably didn't know any other way, right?
And even now, it's the same thing. No, they may not have, but know assuredly that after they've done all they were going to, here's one that we should do all the time. You say when you come to church, you're going to get baptized, and you'll come up a Christian. You go in the water dry and come out wet, doing the same shit. You're back on the corner, doing the same thing you were doing. Where have your behavior been modified at? Same thing when you go off and offer these different animals. You can offer the animal, but you have not altered your behavior because you're going right back to doing what you were doing the day before. It takes a inner changing, and that's where you come in. That's where we come in talking about what do I need to do to correct my problem. That's why we got a lot of mental illness. Folks are hung up because the time we're in, so much pressure's going on, and they can't handle it. So now, behavior modification. I don't know no animal you can kill that'll change your behavior, other than the animal in you. And we all got a certain amount in us.
Other than the animal within you.
Right.
But I believe that all those things were what you would call a placebo effect, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, because
it would create such a grandiose thing where you see this whole thing and it makes you believe that this is what's going to heal me. And so therefore, I think that our ancient African people knew they would create a grandiose seen do something crazy, and then we believe it would heal us, and so therefore we just kept the same custom time and time again. We don't even know what the root of it is, what the actual true reason why they were doing this. And I believe that the whole thing was placebo.
Well, and I would have to agree, because what it does, it gives you a sense, not that the word belief, or faith, those are two powerful words. What does believe mean? What does believe mean? And we already did the etymology on that. We're gonna talk tonight. We're gonna get into the rest of the show, because I just believe. Give me the etymology of the word belief, my sister. What does the word believe mean? Just type it in. And this is our problem. Instead of doing knowing, and I just believe. Okay, well, let's just see what belief is. What does the word believe is, if I trace back, okay, to involve, okay.
So it's basically it's faith.
Yeah, faith. Okay, but it says
holding something dear or trusting in it.
Okay, but if you look at the BELEAVE at the bottom, from the randomizer, he says to accept something as truth without what? Absolute proof. To accept anything as truth without absolute proof. It's called a danger of blind faith. I just believe. Why do you believe? And what school of thought that makes you believe? What happened to make you believe this? It comes from a school of thought. But I just believe I can fly. When you jump up that building and see, you're going to fly straight to the bottom. Faith is a subtle thing, hope for evidence of things not seen, according to what they got written in the book, right? But what about when you know something? I don't have to believe it, but I just know. Why did I know? Because I have experienced it, I've seen it work, and I can trust it. When people pray with faith, hoping that God's going to answer their prayer. In EFI divination, you get your instant answer right then. That's why
there's no necessarily reason to have faith. But well, if when you get the answer, do you have to have faith or belief that that answer is true or not?
Now it comes to a thing of accepting it or rejecting. That's the choice comes in. Do I accept what they say or do I reject? And 9 times out of 10, if it tell you to do something or give you the answer in something and you go against it from self-experience, you're going to get it. Because a thing that called the divine reciprocity or karma going to kick in.
So explain that karma. So you do a divination.
What was supposed to come out of India, that what goes around comes around, and whatever you're going to do, you're going to pay for it before you leave the world. You know, that's in some things, but some things you're paying for because of past life experiences.
So if you get a reading and say that something comes out and you just ignore it, you're saying that there's a certain level of karma that comes with that?
Yeah, because it's called if you told something and you disobey it or you chose to go against it, that's a choice you make. But then you deal with the other end of it, because everything has it's choice, chance, change, and consequences. I call them 4 C's: choice, chance, change, and consequences. Once you got to have a chance to know what it is, the choice is of you, because you declare you're free. So if I want to fix it, then I'll do what's necessary. If I don't, that's going like I've been going. And you wonder why. You know. Then remember this. Everything in this dimension has a spirit attached to it. I need to learn how to address that particular spirit or that energy that have me. How did I come in contact with it? Why is it living in me? Because because we are actually electromagnetic people in an etheric body. So everything attached and everything speaks. That's why we have 3 levels of consciousness: conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. We have 3 locations. We have thought, heart, and gut. You get a gut feeling about something. Where does that come from?
Would you say vibration?
Remember, you are a spiritual being having a terrestrial experience. So a lot of this came with us. We call them attributes. We call these various things but they are already innately within our genetic makeup. We may be getting a little bit out there. So now the guy was hitting on the edge, but that's dangerous. That's real dangerous. Because
hi, Isa, are you there?
Welcome, my brother.
Hey,
hello.
how you doing?
You all right?
It's Izza. I don't want to stop the flow. Keep going.
Now,
I really want to get into this choice, chance, change, and consequence, right? I really want to break that whole thing down. Choice, chance, change, and consequence. Can we break that down into like something to really let the audience understand what the things of that is?
Okay, in life's journey, you have choice. Then there's a chance to accept or turn around. Then you got choice, chance, change. At some junction, after dealing with the first 2, you have an opportunity to change it or maintain it. But whatever your choice is, it comes with what? Consequences. And most times we don't look at the consequences. For every action, there's what? There's what? With every action, there's what?
A reaction.
Right. And everything in the energy field cause the next thing to be developed or produced. That's why I tell people there's no such thing as bad and good. You have energy movement, and from that we create an offspring, whether of successes or failure. And most of us are afraid to go to evolve because the responsibility become responsibility, because we are responsible for our own action. Religion takes that from us and give us a false sense of security or hope. Well, I don't deal with religion. I deal with universal spirituality and personal responsibility for the things that I do or don't do. I don't need to kill up a bunch of goats and chickens to fix that.
Right.
I got to fix that in me.
Exactly.
You got to go into a state of knowing who you are as opposed to what you think you are. And that's why I was telling about this calendar. We have been so misled and inundated and indoctrinated by a foreign entity that we don't know ourselves. That's why I'm so glad that the ancestors, God was working to get us back on track, because when the oppressor took us off of our divine alignment, he put us on a false alignment. And many of our problems, because that's why we're having this conversation now. We don't know who we are. Well, I'm African. Well, what part of Africa? It's over 2,000 different tribes over there. Well, no, 54 nations, over 2,000 different languages. So what tribe did you come from? Because we're not like, well, you just can't lump us together, because some of the tribes were born enemies. The Oyo and the Dahomis, they are not friends. A lot of people and a lot of tribes don't care nothing about the Europe because they figure that they were invaders. I mean, they was there and they was a problem. The Cameroons don't want to deal with them. I ran because I live in Cameroon and she's a doctor. And I mentioned Europe, but man, she stopped almost being my doctor.
What?
Yeah. She said that the
She
Lord
stopped being your doctor, bro. What?
That's crazy.
Because
oh my gosh.
I got my leakies on, my beads, and I'm talking, and she looking at me. She said, "I'm from Cameroon."
And we don't service Yoruba people.
Well, I think it's not like that. It's just that you don't say it because of the profession. You just start being reluctant or giving you certain information. And when I found it out, once she transferred it out, another doctor came from Canada. He said, why they give you this? You don't need this. I'm going, oh shit. Now she's my complexion.
So Isa, can you put your camera on real quick? As we talk, when we're talking, I like to have the people that are like going to be discussing things that have their camera on, because it just makes it look better for the algorithm when people are like looking for the video.
We can, and sometimes you look like an Igbo man. Do the Igbos and the Yorubas get along?
Not to my knowledge.
Come on now.
No.
And you got to go back into the history. This man talking one thing. What about the history that goes along with the people that were called Ifa? They later Iwe. They later changed their name to Ifa. From Ifa, they were called the Yorubas. Yeah, the Yorubas is known all because they were able to bring a lot of things over, but everybody ain't Yoruba. But you're gonna try to embrace the Yoruba culture, but you're not. That's like a hyena trying to be a damn lion. You wonder why we mess.
So he thought. So Isa, you had a question. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, it seems like the Phi system is, in West Africa is similar to the Abrahamic faith, where it's the foundation for multiple religions, and they pretty much use the same foundation and change the names to fit, whatever is going on politically.
And the thing about it is, we who don't know much into it, and because we as people in this diaspora were fighting for an identity and to be accepted of approval of the white man, he told us all kind of crazy stuff. We've had more name changes than the average. Yet we still don't know who, and it's a good thing, because by us having so much diversity, we have many diverse gifts. The thing is to find a common denominator to bring us together to create one gigantic force to go forward. And if I can do that, if we learn this, but quit trying to put tradition in it, or force me to that I'm not supposed to do. That's why they told us EFI is for the new millennium. This millennium, we don't need to follow the Yorubas. All we got to do is follow the binary algorithm that was given us 2.5 billion years ago, line our lives up and walk with the laws. And I got this chart up. We fell for the okie doke when they changed, gave us a zodiac. We didn't never need no damn zodiac. And I think of a night when I was talking with Brother Andrew. Is that Andrew?
Yep, that's me.
Okay, my brother Barley. Other night we was talking, and we found out that do that chart again. Yeah. Now this is the IAU. That's the International Astrology Union. This how they have it set up. This tell you how many days the sun is in. And what I understand, how in the Sam Thunder you gonna let the white folk come in 46 BC, snatch out a whole constellation, move up the dates into another constellation, and say you only got 12 when it's 13. And even this one is out of order.
So how is it out of order?
Go back and I'll show you. Put it back up. It says Aries, right? April the 19th through May 13th. Right?
Yeah.
But the year starts in what they call March. In the month of Abib, March. And it starts, sister, can you drop down to the other chart? I'm gonna show you something. 21st. Everything is 21st. It's because everything falls in the middle. Nothing falls on the exact number, date. Now if you count it, you said we said because if you use that thing of January, it wasn't. But look at it. It says Aries, Taurus, comes all the way around, Cancer, Leo, and you get around to Scorpio. The next one is Ophiuchus. It's the 9th. So it ain't the 13th, it's the 9th. And so forth and so on. But now on this chart, put it back up, they've got it 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's been the 13th. Anybody know when you're dealing with figures or measurement, if you off a quarter of an inch anything, the whole shit goes up bad. So this is the IAU, the International Astronomy Chart. Everybody says, well, I'm a this, I'm a that. You following a zodiac.
So you telling me that Pisces should be first?
The first thing is just to go back. March. No, it's not first, because remember the equinox starts first. You got a calendar. They ain't showing you the equinox on that. It's around the 21st, 2021 when the new year begins.
Every equinox starts on the 21st. Think about that.
21st.
When does summer start? June 21st. When does spring start? April 21st. Or
but we're out. But
winter, December 20 or November 21st, and then all those things start on the 21st. So how is that?
We're out of order, and everything we do is jacked up, because what with cosmological, we are out of order with the cosmos and our life, exactly because we are part of the universe. So if the universe has been, we're in a phantom or artificial universe, we're also living in a phantom artificial universe. So our life ain't really real. It's phantom and it's jacked up. That's why we have problems. Why we're actually always trying to find ourselves.
So Isa, do you have any questions, Isa?
Oh, we had a nice conversation today.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty much just absorbing it in right now, as far as just trying to understand the fact that you're saying everything is just out of order.
Well, you know what? Terrence Howard talked about that. How could 0 go into 9 and be 0?
Yeah,
and how could 0 go into 1 and be 0? How could 0 go into 2 and be 0? Why is 0 times 9 0?
Yeah. See,
why would anything times something? Why would nothing plus something equal nothing?
Yeah. See, we can allow.
So all the math is wrong, including the calendar.
Yeah. So
and then we did go into before how they actually had changed the calendar and this, that, the other. Did you get to see the one where we talked about how the calendar was changed? And I encourage people that are watching this to go back into the earlier principles of E5 where we talked about the calendar and how it was just changed. They just kept changing, like 3 or 4 times changed up. So
I think I caught that. It was about 300 years they took off, right?
Yeah. It snatched it all out. Sister Monica, this guy's name is Christopher Clavius. Can you pull him up? Christopher Clavius. And I tell people, when we go to these Bible hours and things for these readings, they're using a artificial system to kick out your autonomy, your life path. They're giving you the wrong stuff because that's not you. But now you think you.
How do you spell that? Christopher Clavius?
Christopher Clavius. Christopher Clavius.
Okay.
We got a lot of folk in all these, and then you find yourself trying to live out that reading. I do. Then you wonder why your life jacked up. And you realize that the Europe will start their year in June. They don't start at the equinox.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, start June the 2nd and June the 3rd. They start when they call the summer solstice. The summer.
So how does that impact? How does that impact?
It don't, because you trying to follow their system, and you over here trying to practice the Gregorian system. It ain't gonna work.
Right. Because they're on the 28-day month, right?
Well, they say they is, but they're not. Ask them what is the 13th month of the Yoruba calendar. What's the 13th month? They say you got 4 days. The 4 days for market. We have 7 days over here. They got certain days, and I've got it on the thing called the Omo Awo module, and it tells you break down how the Yoruba count their days and et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying one thing, but we don't have no market days when they do something 4 day, a 4-day week. Yes, 28 days, 7 weeks, 4 days. But you got other days on the calendar for what you gonna do with them.
So here's the thing. So we were talking about divination in this live, and the main thing before we get into divination, we have to correct the calendar. So because here's the thing, there's different times to do divination. There's different reasons to do a divination. Like I know that every beginning of the year they have a thing called the letter of the year, where they do divination for that year. Every month you're supposed to do divination. Every week you're supposed to do divination. Every day there's probably a divination. So if you don't understand when the beginning and end of a day, a month, a year is, then your life is kind of going to be off. So let's go into that.
Okay, first and foremost, most of them are still using the 12-month cycle for divination. They say the new year starts in January. No, the hell no. Because I was telling Oreste when I was with Santero, we come out on December, we get ready for the new year. We're gonna read. How you gonna read for the new year when it ain't the new year yet? So you do the read, you tell me this, that, and other, when it's not the new year. The energy is not in alignment. It's not in alignment. I said, it's not a new year. That's bad, folks. I'm going to practice Kwanzaa. What does Kwanzaa mean? What does Kwanzaa mean? Now, I know Ron Karinga created for us to have our own Christmas, but Kwanzaa means first fruit, first yam fruit. Where do when we have a yam fruit? Where the yams at? Ain't no damn December.
So when you say the beginning of the year would start in the spring,
you can't harvest.
It would only make sense that the new year would start in the spring when life begins to come back to the earth, not the winter, not the fall when life is dying, not the winter when everything is dead, but the spring when things are springing into existence. That would make more sense for that to begin to be the beginning of the year.
And that's where this calendar set up on. It's based on the equinox every 28 days, because every 28 days, then it talks about the 13 weeks that leads into 28 days. It's 352 say weeks a year divided by 4. That's 13. That is not 12. There's no such thing as leap year. There's no such thing as Easter Day. You notice
so yeah, that is crazy. Easter.
Check this out. Name me the only holiday that never moves in the in that particular week or month. Name me the one that never moves.
Which holiday never moved?
Thanksgiving is always the 4th Thursday in November. It never fucking moves.
Yeah.
But you know what? I remember like the Thanksgiving being on the 22nd at one point. When I was younger, it was like the 22nd.
Yeah, but 22nd is gonna be that particular 4th week in the month too.
It's the 4th week of the month, yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And you see and as time is going on, I thought that holidays were a certain day.
Most of them moves around, but Thanksgiving, you call it, never moves. It's always a 4th Thursday in the month. Why? The reason why, because a man by the name of John Hanson, the first black president, declared it because George Washington was fighting with Cornwallis, surrendered in October, and they called it the Day of Providence, and they said, we're going to declare this to be Thanksgiving. Ain't nothing doing no Indians and all that shit, because that was back in December. He locked it down as an order. Every 4th Thursday is called Thanksgiving to the God of divine providence. 1781.
So wait, Thanksgiving was because of like the black president that existed?
John Hanson, because he was the president of the 13 original colonies, and George Washington was a general. How could George Washington be a general and be the president?
Well, I thought all presidents were
in
generals.
1789.
Well, I think they're all. I thought no, okay.
No.
So was it
John
a purpose behind pretty much ordaining that?
Huh?
Was it a purpose behind ordaining it be that last Thursday of every?
Yeah, the purpose was because we was fighting the British. Cornwallis surrendered to George Washington at Yorktown in October. The following month, John Hanson declared that Thanksgiving would be the fourth Thursday every month in honor of the God of divine providence, because we had just defeated the British at Cornwallis.
Okay.
Had nothing to do with Indians and turkeys, and hell, there wasn't no turkeys. They would run around eating venisons. And that was back in December.
Wow.
Yeah, that's new.
So that's crazy. That's
look it up. When he supposed to landed and got in with it, that was back in December, man. That was not in November.
Man.
We have been duped so bad, bro.
That's crazy.
Everything we do, but this is why I love history. You go back and do the research. It'll let you know. History better reward for those who are in search of knowledge. But you got to find out where it's coming from. That's when I started doing my work. Now, I said, wait a minute. And then every so many years, the darn system supposed to shift. Not if they don't change the numbers. We run around there saying one thing when it ain't that. We got people are more educated in the oppressor's way of life than our way of life. They master. Oh, I'm a Gemini. I'm a Taurus. I'm a this. I'm a that. And if you look at the calendar, you ain't none of that shit.
So here's the thing. So let's get back into divination, because this week we didn't cover the calendar for so many weeks, right? So let's get it because a lot of times you'll see a horoscope, and then you'll get like a kind of a divination where a tarot astrologer will tell you, well, this week if you're a Gemini, look out for this and that, all based on the astrological thing. So why is it that some of them are correct? Why is it some of them are wrong? Like
always correct because you believe it's correct and you try to make it correct. Remember, there's a thing called permissive will and divine will. Most of people have lived in a permissive because that's like training wheels. The universe knows that we're still going through growing pains. Everything is not, but eventually at the crossroads, you're going to wake up and say, wait a minute, something's wrong. And when you get there, the light will come and says, when you know better, what? You do better.
Right.
You start researching, huh? And then you guys go, whoa, wait a minute. This ain't this not a horse. This is a damn zebra. And that's where we are now. Most of our people who are trying to find an identity to be accepted, we're out looking and you fall in a trap every time. Because you know, you're gonna say, well, brother, have you been initiated? Initiated? Or what old reach is governing your head? Well, if I don't know you give us the birth date and all that, when we see this is that and other. The only way you're gonna know, you got to go in and find out what old do you was born under and what old reach is governing that old do at that time.
You know what's so crazy is that, for the longest time, I thought that when they did the ceremony, that ceremony dictated who my Orishas. Let's go. Okay, stop. Let me just say this, right? If anyone has been into an Ifa ceremony, right? When you get it's called your hand of Ifa, right? And they tell you who your head Orisha is, right? Now, you don't realize that the first thing they ask you, what's your mother's name, your mother's first name, your father's last name, what's your name with this, and then they ask your birth date, and your full name, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't realize, so we think that the actual, so here, let me tell you how the magic happens, right? This is the thing, this is the overplay for the underlay, right? I'm gonna say this. Because you would think that because they're doing their and they're throwing these cowrie shells, that is what's dictating what your head is. Now, for the longest time, I thought that he got my head, or who my head Orisha was, because he threw something down, and that was the thing that I would say responded to my energy.
Right.
But right now, what I'm finding out is no. The whole time that you've been dealing with this Babalawo, the first thing they always ask you is your birthday, your mother's birthday, your father's birthday, whatever. I didn't say your mother's birthday. Your mother's name, your father's name. So all this like based in numerology and all kind of like mathematical things and all type of stuff.
It sounds similar to a birth chart.
It is.
Yes. So when I went to let me tell you what's crazy. When I went to go get initiated, and I remember I was being told, I thought I was a daughter of Oshun, right? The whole time, and and the thing is that some of this would be like mystical, magical. It seems like it's very mystical, right?
Right.
And what I'm finding out is this stuff is really like they use the magic to cloak the real science. They make it seem like it's something more than what it is. Underneath it all is they're doing mathematical equations and doing calculations. Oh, okay, this is what it is. But they use all the other stuff to hide the fact that they're just really like calculating this, that, the other. And that is crazy to me. Because I was like, what? So this whole thing is based on what my birth date is, based on some African calendar or whatever. And I'm like, really? Is that what this whole thing is really about? It's not even about all the other shit that they did when they was throwing this down and throwing that down and doing all this. Well, what the hell was I doing all that shit for? So yeah, that's crazy.
You had to get initiated to know that.
Allegedly, see, but the thing about it, you read in the Ephraim book, it says all this was done under the facade. It was done to cloak the thing orally. So everybody gonna tell a different story, gonna lay it out, and let me know the person. So when you go in there with that, the first they're gonna ask, because they trying to come up with a chart, and that chart is gonna be from the zodiac. They said, well, you got, even though you're Oshun, but that make you Libra. Elam Oshun, because I ain't hardly no damn Libra. Okay? Because that's what? That is Babylonian garbage. So now I'm trying to be what you call it, a crab or something. You got crab nature. Come on, man. But they were rich.
But no, you know what's so crazy? I remember there was a time where you would be like, you would start to identify things with the astrological chart, and they'd be like, no, Ifa is not the same thing as as astrology, right? But the more you get into it, you find out it is based on astrology. It's based on when you were born, where you was at, all that stuff. So yeah.
And the thing about the other day, Andrew and I was talking, and I always thought what we went through the thing, and I got offer you for you too, man. I've got the stuff. Yeah, I got him right here. Got him right here, and
you're gonna have to send that to me.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that in your packet, man. But it says Oshamara apparently helps in the creation of the world. It says, by carrying out whatever sacred task we must arrange was restricted. When Oshamara asks, what about when I wish to give gifts to the world? That's one part. Then it goes over here and says, I'm sending it to you, man.
Awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait to look over all of that.
And some more about Oshamara. The one I really like is the one here. Oshamara is the guardian protector of children, controls the umbilical cord, as well as the sound of strange and little arbitrary things. But in Europe, consider the umbilical cord the link between the world and the ancestors. He's the link. And you know what we were talking that link of the day, but you and your ancestors, remember? When your when it came up, when your old dude you came in the world, it was under Erosoon. See, you had Oshama, and you had, who else was that with you on that day? Was that Elegba? Okay, and the old and the old dude that you came in under was Erosoon. So yeah, I'm gonna be sending that to you in your packet, man.
Man, I can't wait to get it. Can't wait to get it.
It's a lot of stuff in here, and the way, you know, but they ain't gonna tell you all of that. You know, that ain't cost no $600 either.
Say that.
You know, that's what I'm telling people. We gotta take all this financial burden and tell folks the truth, because you feed them is what is it? Substitute knowledge. Like in the Masonic order, you got that substitute knowledge. You know that you get to a certain level. You know, When you do it this way, you don't miss, because all our days of the week is named after oppressor god, either Vikings, Viking gods, or other groups. Okay, nothing about Africa in one day, but we got to reach that governs the days of the week. The day is Obatala's day. So if I wanted to recognize, I would do some Obatala today. I mean, if I might not do no drinking, I might say today I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna honor Obatala for the day of me being here. You understand? That is an elbow. The greatest
elbow. Hold on, everybody don't know what an elbow is. What is an elbow?
That means sacrifice, right? The greatest sacrifice is your time.
I say
time is the greatest sacrifice you can offer. As you remember that, old Risha, draw that energy in and ask it to come into you to help you throughout the day. If you got a business deal, I need the way open. Who do I need to contact? There's an old Risha that deal with business. What day of the week should I do that? Bam, 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 bam. Okay. Today I need change. Well, that is the 6th day. You know, I recognize that. Remember, I came in the month of Osamara. The day of the week was Elegba. I got that already working with my Ori and my ancestors, because that deal with my ancestors too.
Because that was gonna really be the next question I was gonna say, because it's like, okay, first you got to correct the calendar, right? Right. Then a lot of that is the science is based off your birthday, when you came into the world, and that's determining your head Orisha and your Odu.
The Odu is the key,
right?
Because everything comes in under, and what Orisha governs that particular energy at the time. Well, you got Osamara and Iraq. Well, that day you came in on the Erosoon. You know, but everybody don't come in an Erosoon. You know, that's why I say this Ifa is more personal than it is a bunch of folks doing the thing.
But so I was gonna say is that it's interesting, like I said, is that when you find the reality of the fact that this whole thing, your head Orisha is really based on, because my head Orisha is what? Oh yeah. But I'm also astrologically a Gemini, and that is also astrologically within the Greco-Roman, calendar, and also the calendar that I just saw right here, right?
The one I got well, see, that's
so it's June 20th. So June 20th, I'm a Gemini, right?
Well,
based on this,
but that's not the way it is in the sacred calendar, because remember, first of all, look at all the different days. Go back to the chart and watch this. Now, according to this, the sun is in Aries 25 days. It's in Taurus 37 days. It's in Gemini 31 days. It's in Leo 37 days. It's in Virgo 45 days. It's in Libra 23 days. It's in Scorpio 7 days. In Ophiuchus 18 days. Sagittarius 32 days. Capricorn 28 days. Aries 24 days. Pisces 38 days. Now, how in the hell are you going to be in balance with all them different numbers? That's all I want to know. Every day, the continent, remember this is built on what they call the sun. That is not the moon.
These are based on different stars. This is based on star
right.
system.
So, and then what I like about it, if you go right here, you can see in the celestial alignment, Scorpio, Ophiuchus, then the Sagittarius. Set in the middle. How am I going to skip over Ophiuchus to the other one without recognizing when it's more sun? But you the other night, the sun stays longer in Ophiuchus than it stays in the other one. But I'm a Scorpio. Come on, man.
Well, based on this calendar, I'm still a Gemini. But hold on. But my head Orisha is right?
Okay. Oh yeah. And that is the Orisha what of change, right?
Oh, the wind, and you know what they say, Gemini is the wind and the air sign,
and she
mercurial
did all the great. So but we find ourselves trying to emulate what they say the chart say it is, rather than asking if is this correct.
Well, that's where you get into the divination system.
Right.
So once they find out who your head is, who your head Orisha is, then from there, then what happens?
Question is this: how many heads do you have?
One.
Your Ori is the most popular Orisha you have. Your head. So how many heads do you have?
I only have one head on my head.
Right. But now what's working in conjunction and support you? That's the one we're talking about, because you got only one Ori. Everything else works in conjunction with it. So I can't say, well, now your head, your Ori is this, but your head is that. Look what you're saying. My Ori is my head, inner head. So I guess the other is my outer head. They work in conjunction, but nothing overrides your Ori. It works in conjunction with it.
All right. So with that being said, now that we've talked about the calendar and how we need to get aligned calendarically, the next step is to how do we divine for ourselves with that understanding.
Okay. What I would tell people for the initiative, uninitiated, always start with the shells. I wouldn't say it would be about, because if you start with those, if it requires work and keeping it clean, but with the shells, okay, I can take the shell. Now that's Obiobata. Give me the shells, because the shell has a opening. They call the opening and the close, right? Yeah. I can take that in a certain way. You hold your hand. Okay, let's go back. If I hold my hand like this, I'm going for a yes and no. The 5 yeses and no's, right? When I drop it. If I do my hand like this and pull it back toward me, I can get an Odu. I write that down. I do it again. I get the second one. And I've got a combination.
What's a no-do? What is a no-do?
The Odu is one of the 16 one of the 240. Geometric symbols of that, yeah. If I've taken
Odu is a number. What an Odu is a number.
Okay, once the Odu is like, for any says Edgy Agbe. If I put in the 4 color shell, that would be a lapia. That would be a lapia. If I brought it down, I got all doubles. That would be the dark side. That'd be Oyeku. See, you can do it either way by reading that. And let me see something here. Hold on.
Is that supposed to be 4 cowries?
Yep. Well, that was that could have been coconut, but
So I showed you the two readings, and I showed you the. So if you have 8 shells, it's gonna go more or less like this. It's gonna look like this. It's gonna either have all on one side, or there might be different combinations of that. But if you only have 4, then it's gonna like fall like this. Either it's gonna be all
opposite. It's gonna be. So what we're gonna do here? You got. Now I'm just want to follow, but anyway, there is a thing called Elade Dafar. Type it in, Mr. Sister Monica. Elade Dafar. Now we talk. This is for initiative and uninitiative. And I'm finding out, and this is what I teach my students, my clients, so they can divine for themselves. So it's called Elade.farm. If not, I can give you the website.
What is it? Is it Elade?
No, it's L-E, it's Elade, ILLEDAFA, LA.farm.
ILEDAFAE.
Yeah, it's separate word. It's like LLE with a mark above the E. Next word is Dafar. But let me give you the website, so you can go and get it yourself, and you can work with it. All right. You ready? It's HTTP colon // www.iledafa.com / category CATEGORY / 4 Cowries FOUR with a slash in the middle COWRIES, and see what comes up. You should get this. Casting 4 Cowries.
It says it's under construction.
Oh wow.
Hold on.
With this, you can take the shells, my brother, or you can take coins. You can take 4 quarters, 4 dimes, 4 pennies. Where you think you got a head and tail or opposite sides. You can actually do what they call a divination with them. The idea now is knowing what falls what. So what I've got put together, I put this chart, the chart is together, that it's like matching. It's like matching, right?
I see.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
It's real simple. Nothing hard. I mean, nothing. Well, me and my English.
No, it looks fine. So it's pretty much the same thing that we see.
Right. So all I got to do is match it, and it tell me whether it's a Lapia, or Conron, a Jefe, Etwa, or Yeku. Now the next thing is, now which you got a different word here, but it's only 5.
Okay.
So, but now what I have discovered in my research, there's a thing called the reading, the underlying Odu, because with every Odu, there is, yeah, there you go. There is a supporting Odu that goes along with, like Alapia, it's supported by Agbe. If you're going to do the reading rather than yes and no, I want to go deeper. If Oconron is supported by Obara, Oconron supported by Oconron, Oconron supported by Ika, I can do a whole combination with this with just them 4 shells. I can look into my life and I gotta bother nobody. So, okay.
So basically, so show the process. Give what's an example? You got something right now in front of you?
Well, I have to. What I mean, I've got to. I'm pretty sure my sister has some. Let me see. Mine.
So I mean, so those 5 different results.
Okay, tell you what to do. Take out 4 coins. You got 4 coins?
Yeah, take out 4 coins.
4 pennies, 4 dimes, and I want you to set them down.
And can you like show your is this your camera or your phone?
Well,
No, this is a tablet. I don't think I'll be able to show.
Okay, no. You can like so
we'll
get
walk
like
you through
you have 4 of the same coins. 4 of the same coins.
It's all good.
No. I want you to help us to demonstrate this though.
Yeah, please.
Get 4 coins, like or 4 like beer tops, or 4 of the same thing that has either side, like a circle.
I do not have that near me.
Okay, all right.
I'm trying to think.
Wow, that's Sister Monica. Don't you have that?
I do, but my camera's not working. I've been trying to
get
it to work.
Just hold on a minute. Let me see. Let me. That's my woman call. I'll have to step to the front room.
It's okay. It's okay.
Step to the front room.
Listen, even if you get like 4 pennies, Isa.
Well, just let me go get my
4 quarters, 4 nickels, whatever. Anything that have a one side, like a head side and a tail side. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Heads or tails. If you have 4 of them, we can show you how to divine them. Luke Tang, it came from Africa. But it's the same system in China and different Asian countries as well. They all have the same kind of similar system. All right. So do you have like 4 anything?
Yeah, I got 4 pennies.
Okay, that's good. All right. So you got 4 pennies. All right. So you're looking at us through iPad, right?
Yeah, I'm on the iPad.
Okay. So I would say hold the pennies in your hand with both of your hands.
Okay.
Right? Put them in the center of your hand and then let them go.
So pretty much like this. You hold
them.
Hold them.
Yeah, hold like that. And then just don't let them go. Now take your iPad and show what comes up.
So
read it off to me. How many heads? How many tails?
Pretty much you got 2 and 2. So 2 heads, 2 tails.
That's a Jeff. That's a Jeff.
All right. So now what you do is you ask a question, right? So take them back into your head. First, so now because we just showed you how to throw. So that's how you throw.
Got it.
So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 things. You have a positive side and a negative side. Heads equals positive, tails equals negative. So you have 4 of those, right?
Got it.
And what you did was you hold them into your palm of your hand and you don't throw them, you just let your hand go.
So
you don't throw them down, you just drop them, right? So there's no force with it. You have to just open the hands, let them drop how they may. You know what I'm saying?
What I normally do is blow on them 3 times to put my energy on them.
Like you blowing on some dice.
Yeah.
Where you think it came from? Where do you think it came from?
Our people have an affinity with numbers and mathematics, even if you look at the numbers game.
Right, yeah. Everything.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
So you do that and you shake them up and you release them.
Okay. So you just pretty much asking the question.
Right,
asking them, shaking them,
and then release them. Right.
And then based off how they land, you
ask a yes or no question based on that. So maybe you'll say, just ask a basic yes or no question that you already know the answer to. Well, first, before you do that,
Yeah.
what do you do before that, Baba?
I
Before you
always
do
say-
this,
I always before I do that, I get in my mind how I'm gonna answer the question, and then I just blow on them 3 times, but that puts my energy on them, shake them up, and then and this is yes and no, and just open it up, and they fall. Now to get an do, I do what they call the prayer hand, like this. Okay. Then I open up and I bring it back to me. Then that gives me an alignment. Then I based on what comes up.
but let's just start with the basic throw.
Basic. So start the
basic throw, yes or no. Let's not get into the do yet. Let's just go into basic yes or no with pennies. With if you don't have pennies, say you're in prison, you just got buttons, right? One side is good, one side is bad, right?
Right.
So you might color one side with white color, the other side with black. Or if you have like cowrie shells, one side has like the open looking thing, the other side is look closed, right? If you have pennies, heads or tails, right? So you have 4 of those things in your hand, right?
Yep.
So what you do is, okay, all right. So now let's walk you through it.
Okay.
Right? Let's go one by one. Now, put a question into your head.
Okay.
Just a question that you already know the answer to.
Just a question.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead. Lay it out.
Did you blow it 3 times? Blow 3 times?
I'm shaking them or I'm blowing them. I'm shaking them.
You blow them first.
Oh, you blow them first.
Shake it.
There
and
you
then
go.
you let it go.
What you got?
Let them go. Same thing. 2 heads, 2 tails.
So all right. So what that means is now let's go.
Okay. That means that's a Jeffrey. Jeffrey considers very clear. Yes, no doubt about it. No need to keep asking. Simply proceed forward. Yes, generally it's considered to be the firm yes, a lafia, but I do. Yeah, and so it's a yes to whatever that question would be, and go ahead and proceed. You got to ask again.
Okay.
It's affirmative. And
okay, so you know the question that you asked. From what you know, was it a yes answer for what you remember?
Oh, I mean, it's a definite yes. That if I'm living, this is something that's gonna happen.
Okay, so now do me a favor. Now bring them back up and now ask another question. And you do the same exact thing, right? Ask another question. Yes or no.
Shake them up real good.
Blow.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. So this time, 3 tails, 1 head.
Okay, 3 tails and 1 head. That's gonna be O'Connor. That's basically a no.
Okay.
Oh no. Mm-hmm.
So he said O'Connor. So and this is O'Connor. That's a no.
I got you.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm casting lots.
It is.
Now, from what you know, is that the correct answer? From what? Because you're asking questions you already know the answer to, right?
So I don't know the one I asked. I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay.
I'm saying the best way to test it is to ask a question that you already know the answer to make sure that these things are working according to what you know, right? So
okay. So the first one was definite. The second time I didn't follow your directions. I could do it again, but
whatever thought you had, it picks it up and it gave you that because it's not like a toy. Once you throw it, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You don't keep going back to it.
Yeah, no, and because he told you I go don't ask that question no more because you
can't go back and ask the same question.
Yeah,
understood.
Right.
Live with the result.
And that's how that particular thing works. And it can get more technical, a little deep as we go along, which we want. We'll take it step by step that way. Then what you want to learn these 5 answers, and like I said, and then you'll have them on hand whenever you need to do something. I don't care what it is. Hey man, is this gonna be a good day or whatever?
Right.
Lay it out there, and then you can prepare yourself what you're dealing with.
All right, so let's go into let's ask one more question because I want to ask her. See if there's a question that he might be uncertain about, but he knows the answer at the same time, right?
Yeah,
We're gonna like really break that down. Do it again. Ask a question that you might know, but you might be uncertain about, but you really kind of know the answer to already.
Cool. I got one.
Okay.
I got one.
All right.
3 times.
3 times elect. Well, that's elect was number, so that's he's gonna be.
So this time I got all heads.
That's a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's a yes.
And normally is it you have to, when there's a lafia, do you have to like throw it again?
Well, you can throw it again, or you can accept the answer if you want to come because it's an opening. So throw again just to see for a follow up. Just you got to do
A lafia usually you throw it again to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it comes up with 2 up, 2 down, that means yes. If
So
it
when
comes
you throw
up
it the second time, are you still following the same blow shape?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're doing the same thing.
Same thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this time I got 3 tails, 1 head.
Okay. 3 tails, 1. So the first one was a lot of O'Connor, and that's where you go into the reading for the balance, and this could mean it says it could be a positive end on it, but it requires more work because you got 3 against and 1 saying, well, I'm forward. So now we got to get them all to work together. That's what it's
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you get 4 up or 4 down, is it always a reroll, or you do it again, or is that optional?
Well, 2 up, 2 down is you got to ask, but 4 up like the 4 heads, you got to go because all the doors are open. That's open road. You got both good and negative and positive coming into the scene. The next door will tell you what you're up against. So whatever it is you were up against, you're going to have some opposition. That would take you down, but you can work through it because you got an affirmative in the first part.
So basically,
so what I'm saying, like, so imagine like the first one is saying yes, right?
Okay.
But you say, okay, so you're saying, oh yes, but what do I have to go through? You know what I'm saying? So you throw it again. Well, got some things against the whole thing. That the 3 against it, 1 cool, right? So there's some things you're gonna go through. Now, if it would have said 2 up and 2 down, that means you're good. You're good. You understand?
Yep, I'm with you.
It's like a confirmation of the yes. But if it's on the other side that there's some issues that might come with it.
So
if you get all down, then normally you have to like go see a Babalawo to find out exactly what's going on with that situation. Because that means that the Orisha are no longer answering the question because there's something else going on. So if it's all down, everything is all facing down, then you need to consult E5. Correct, Baba?
Yeah, you consult the Babalawo then. A priestess to go deeper into to see what it is that need to be done. And sometimes it's something very simple. Yeah.
So when I threw the three down, 1 up the first time, that was just no. But since I threw all up first, and then with the confirmation, I got that 3 down, 1 up. It basically is saying yes, it's gonna happen, but with some obstacles.
Basically, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's what. And then you prepare to deal with that, whatever it is, and look for it. But that's
and you'll see it come as time goes on. You're like, oh, okay, I see what it was.
I see.
All right, and okay, as far as what you know, because you asked a question that you knew, would you say that would be accurate?
Yes. Yep, it definitely would be accurate. It's funny because I could already know what the obstacle is. I already went through it, but it's all on me.
Okay,
but the certainty of that first one is the certainty is gonna happen.
Yeah, see. Yeah, well, that's it. And that's how you get an answer. Well, and praying, oh God, give me a satellite and work with me, And that's the
but hold on. In Christianity, this is demonic. It's evil. You're doing the wrong thing. It's terrible. It's wrong.
Yeah, but see, the sad thing about it, Understand? The God of the Bible told him to do divine. He gave him the tools of divine with it. Told him how to do it. Now all of a sudden, some people say, "Well, that's evil." No, it's not evil. It's just that the evilness come because that God was jealous and only do it to me. You know what? You got a list. You can go and talk to. You don't got to talk to the one. Nah, come on, man.
Yeah, that I think the issue was not the divine and nobody else.
It was. It tells you that that's in that was in I think it's Exodus. He says, and don't make mention with any other gods. You know.
Yeah.
He gets
I
off
think
of
that's
that.
the thing, because they cast lots all through that Bible.
Oh, yeah, man. It cast
But here's the thing: what other gods are you when you're doing divination? Are you really casting lots to gods, or are you really just trying to find the answer?
Well, see, they call it casting to faith. Faith is one you're dealing with. What's really going on? And most time when you call the name of that, that's what you bring it up. Like when you bring that entity up, that's how you're bringing him up to communicate with. Well, I tell people all the time, you got to be careful what you're thinking when you're throwing, because you might call up something you don't want to deal with. You know. So yeah, but that's basically how it goes, and that's basically fundamental. Like I said, I will be putting in your packet that Osamara called me. We had a nice time talking, but you can see how important that
I can see how that
alignment is.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to show you. I want to show you something real quick though.
Yeah, come on.
But as we go on this is how deep this goes, right?
Yeah.
All right. So hold on. I haven't seen this one. Hold on, let me see if this is the right one. Hold on. Let me see. I'm trying to make sure.
Got the right one.
It's funny how that worked, but that obstacle was moderation.
Right, you know, and that crazy, and so we're given the tools. So it's not just about like just we're here just talking to you. We're gonna show you the tools. So let's go into it. Like let's go. All right, let's talk about it.
The spiritual end games, and I've been talking about this for a while on my other platforms. You know what I'm saying? And basically, as African traditional religion is growing, you know, these African traditional spirituality, you're starting to see the pushback against it from other institutions who want to keep things, you know, kind of the same that it's been, with other religions being the dominant. You know what I'm saying? So you have powers at play that have an effort to suppress our growth, you know, and this is happening in African traditional religion across the board, you know. But in this particular case, we're going to talk about a thing that's going on with a Shay brother, you know, Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan. So, you know, the movie Sinners just dropped, and it's been making a lot of wave, right? The movie Sinners just dropped, and in one of the interviews that he did on the red carpet, they asked him about his middle name, and he explained how, you know, basically Babalawo was involved with how he got his middle name and his mother, and basically letting y'all know he one of us. You know what I'm saying? I posted that video on my other platforms, and it went E5 viral. You know what I'm saying? It went E5 viral, meaning around our E5 community, a lot of people seen it. But now, because of that video, of that interview, our brother is starting to get pushback. Now, I've seen a lot of videos come across my feed, but there's one in particular that I want to do a little bit of commentary on and kind of break down, because I hope y'all ready for the spiritual end games, family. And I'm telling y'all, because it's here. It's here. As more souls keep being guided with the help of Ifa and Voodoo and Palo and all of these traditional religions that we have, you're going to see more of an effort to suppress it by the other religious structures. Remember, I told y'all that. So let's pull it up. Let's break it down. So there go our brother Michael B. Jordan. Y'all should have knew. Y'all should have knew he was one of us, man. I know a lot, man. A lot of y'all intuitive, so y'all know what's up.
Didn't I tell y'all when y'all see this face that I'm about to drop a truth bomb on you? There is a clip that is going around because Michael B. Jordan, his middle name is Bakari, but he also says that in this clip that he's a Babalawo. We're going to find out what that means. Let's watch.
You know, before we get in, he said he about to drop some truth bombs. No truth bombs have been dropped.
No.
The B stands for Bakari, which means of noble promise.
Correct. You know your stuff.
All right. Who gave you that name, and how do you think it shaped the man you are today?
I'm a Babalawo, and my mom, when I was born, I got the name, fresh out the womb, and I try to, live in that purpose, everyday sin. So a Babalawo is a priest.
So first of all, our brother Michael B. Jordan, he had a little bit of a Freudian slip. You know, that's when you basically say something that was on your subconscious. So when he answered the question, he really said, a Babalawo, but it came out like I'm a Babalawo. Because as we all know, if Ifa was involved in your life that early on, there is a high chance that you initiated at some point in your life. So in his mind, he like, I'm a Babalawo. You feel me? But, that's a Freudian slip. But the brother said, Babalawo and his mother basically gave him that middle name. You dig? A Babalawo and his mother gave him that middle name. Now, here comes the flim flam.
Fresh out the I try to, live in that purpose, everyday sin. So a Babalawo is a priest or diviner in the Yoruba religion, especially in the Alpha spiritual system. The word Babalawo
I don't know what Ifa is, man. What is Ifa? What is this? If you're going to come speaking on our traditions, like at least have the decency to pronounce things the right way. Because you coming over here and you already trying to discredit, our practice and things like that, but you can't even pronounce the words. Come on, man.
In the Alpha spiritual system, the word Babalawo in Yoruba means father of mysteries or father of secrets. Babalawos are experts in Alpha divination and are responsible for communicating with the divine through a system called Alpha, using tools like the Obeli divination chain or Ekin sacred palm nuts.
While in disrespecting the Ekin, why are you speaking on our tradition and you can't even pronounce it? People always wondered why I was a stickler for things like pronunciation, because nobody who comes into any of these traditions legitly will pronounce things like Ikini Fa in a way like that. You understand? Which means you're not so tied to the culture. Just think, if somebody mispronounces your name, that means they really don't know you like that. Come on.
They provide spiritual guidance, help people solve problems, perform rituals, and maintain a connection between humans in the spiritual world. It sounds like some demonic stuff because it sounds like it because it is. He's saying he channels spirits. He connects with the dead. Okay, so what is Alpha divination? It is a system of divination.
He said all that in that little clip. Did he say that?
He did not.
The last I checked, a Babalawo consults Ifa. And the word of Oludumare is not dead. The word of Oludumare is not dead. And Ifa is the word of Oludumare. See, this person doesn't know anything what he's talking about at all. He just ba. What are you even saying right now? You see, and this is the stuff I'll be talking about, family. When you get these people and they know nothing about nothing, he chat GPT'd something up and mispronouncing everything, and then he gets this from that. Now, as a Babalawo, if you deal with a gungun, yes, at that time, that's when you will communicate with the dead, with the ancestors in your own family. Your own Egungun is in that Egungun shrine, right? If you're an Egungun priest, now that opens it up, to a wider thing. But this is madness. Look at this.
It sounds like it because it is. He's saying he channels spirits.
He's saying it's demonic. What's demonic?
A connection between humans in the spiritual world. It sounds like some demonic stuff because it sounds like it because it is.
And what is the definition? So when these people say demonic, it actually comes from the word daemon, which actually was just a word that they gave to any being that was supernatural. This is the root word of demon. It's daemon, right? And so was Jesus not supernatural? So was Jesus not supernatural? Okay, so what is that? Demon. Watch your words, because words are important.
Demonic stuff because it sounds like it, because it is. He's saying he channels spirits. He connects with the dead. Okay, so what is Alpha divination? It is a system of divination practiced by the Yoruba people of West Africa, particularly in Nigeria. It involves a diviner known as a Babalawo who uses divination, tray, and tapper to interpret the will of the gods and spirits. Unlike other forms of divination, Alpha divination doesn't rely on spirit mediumship, but on a complex system of orally transmitted text that the Babalawo memorizes and interprets.
Do you see how what he read just discounted what he said?
Thank you.
He speaks about how Ifa divination doesn't rely on spirit mediumship because it's a divination system. You understand? When they're saying spirit mediumship, they're really talking about like the dead. Ifa is a binary coding system. You understand? So when you consult Ifa, Ifa is showing you the inner coding of the soul of nature. This is what Ifa is showing you when you consult Ifa. When we use Obrele, when we use Ikin Ifa, this is what's going on. All right. So the person doesn't know what he's even talking about, because even from the stuff you read, it just discounted what you said. Because you said that our brother Michael B. Jordan was channeling dead people because he consults Ifa. You get what I'm saying? When you consult Ifa, you're not consulting dead people. You're consulting Orumila. Orumila is not dead. What is this?
What is examples of divination? Modern forms of divination include astrology, horoscopes, scrying, tarot cards, and Ouija boards. The Bible speaks against divination. Here it is right here. In religious context, the sin of divination is the act of seeking hidden knowledge or foretelling the future through non-divine means, such as consulting spirit mediums, omens, or other supernatural forces. It's considered a sin because it involves seeking knowledge that God has not chosen to reveal, and because it often involves demonic or spiritual forces that are not aligned with God's will.
And this is now where the arrogance of Christians is on full display. Well, what I would say, believers, the arrogance of believers. There's a lot to unpack with this little piece. You're saying that we're foretelling events with non-divine means. How can something be non-divine if you're dealing with the divine? Do you know the definition of divine? Do you know it? Do you know the definition of divine? Is the question. Okay. So you're saying that we're getting information through non-divine means when literally in the word is divine, divination. What are you talking about? This
It's a lot there.
And then there's a lot, both of them missing. My brother, don't you have a book, Ifa is from the complete work, the complete work of Orumila? Have you got it?
Yeah. I just got it based off your show.
Okay. When you get through reading in that, raising them, I'm gonna see is that yeah. In it, you're gonna find out it says you can be born into the world a Babalawo. There are readings in there will say that you came in the world as a Babalawo. So above, so below. That's how mine came. And I know my head was Orumila. Orumila is always tied into that. A lot of these cats think they know, and they don't know. They espouse a lot of things that sound correct, but they both are off on things. What he said is what went down. But then there force the thing that, but he don't know his book, because had he known his Bible, he knew that the God of the so-called Israelites told Aaron to create a thing called the Ephod, and it was called upon the Urim Thummim to divine to get answers with. It's in there.
Yeah.
But you know, that's a Christian apologist. You want to come back? Even Islam, every religion has a form of divination. Among the Chinese, I Ching. The I Ching is the same thing. And where did it come from? It came from the divination, because it is a binary mathematical algorithm to get answers. Every time you use your computer, that's divination. It has an algorithm in it. It has data. You punch in for an answer, it give it to you. And the computer is based off of that same 0-1 or 0-0 system that come out of Ifa.
You know, I think the big confusion is that a lot of time the religion gets separated from the actual culture. And when you look at Christianity, you know, it's primarily focused on the New Testament, which really doesn't go too deep into Israelite culture. And if you look into it, I mean, it's pretty much identical. I mean, the priests had their own tools. They divinely talk to God. The people go to them as intercessors when they have problems to perform sacrifices. I mean, the really big difference is that Yahweh is jealous and Olodumare isn't. I mean, but if you look at how the culture works and how the priests fit into
it, depends on the culture and the priest.
This the same. It's the exact same thing. But the thing is that Christians don't know that themselves.
And that's the sad part.
Because the focus is Jesus is the ultimate sacrifice. So they don't bother to look into the reason why the sacrifices were made. How did that fit into Israelite culture and X, Y, and Z? And a lot of that happens today too. I'm noticing that because I'm a baby with this Ifa stuff, but as I pay attention, I notice the same thing. A lot of the culture
similarities.
Yeah, the culture is ignored. You know, you look at some of those things, and a lot of those stories have to do with things that was going on in their actual community, and you know, it's connected. And if you don't pay attention to that stuff, you can do the same thing the Christians do to their foundational religion. You know, but
and we're going through that right now because you got as many divisions now in the culture. That's not Ifa. Even though they bring Ifa into it, the culture is different. Like I said, many of the groups, like you and I was talking, you say you had Igbo in your family and something else, you know, coming together.
Yeah, Yoruba.
So you got, but you look at it and you break them down apart. They are foes, but yet they talk about Afa. There's a thing in Igbo called AFA. It's called Afa. That's the name of the system. You know, you can't pronounce it. Yeah, it's called Afa. AFA. You pronounce it here, but it's Afa. You know,
he was actually mispronouncing Ifa though. But there is a such thing as called Afa, but he was mispronouncing Ifa like
I know. Ifa. None of them do, but I would let them know that different groups like they got it well.
There is a such thing as Afa,
Afa, because it's
Benin.
But they get
the Yoruba call it Ifa, the Bini call it Fa.
Yeah,
I think the Igbo call it Afa.
Yeah, right.
But it all is the same oral system.
Yeah,
I think I said it to you when we were talking. I'm like, it's basically West African. You know, you got Islam and Judaism. It's got the same foundation, Torah.
We had a nice
different cultures' expression of the same foundation.
And everybody won't be the HNIC when it comes to it. When you find out that they're not.
I'm gonna show y'all this real quick. So, all right. So if you actually understand what a database is, right?
Yeah.
So right here, you have the Odu Ifa, right? So all of these are the Odus of Ifa. 256 different Odus.
Right.
All these Odus equal out to a database, say that one comes up, or I would say that what number comes up equals out to I would say a pataki, a story, right?
Right.
Same thing happens here in computer programming. If you actually look at a computer program, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happens here. You know what I'm saying? You have you type in something into the computer, a thing comes out, and the information comes out there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what happens is that people think that, oh, well, you're getting your information from the devil, but then they'll go on a thing called Chat GPT
and be channeling.
You know what I'm saying? And be channeling and be doing the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Look, okay, listen. this is all really Ifa is. Okay, what's the question? So the Bible Lao says, what are you trying to find out? You say, you know what?
Say who's gonna win the NBA Finals this year?
Who is gonna win the
Yeah,
and it searches.
It's gonna take all that information
and give you the information.
Yeah.
However, but you know, people are so they don't realize. So did a demon just do this, or did it search out a database and give you the data? And then if you actually do the research, you know what I'm saying, we go into, what was it called again, that you showed us before? It was called where the dude did the TED Talk. It was called
you talking about African fractal?
African
fractal.
All right, let's go into African fractals. Okay, let's go into this. This guy did a whole TED Talk on this, right?
Yeah.
Right, and he's talking about the whole thing.
In the world started in Africa, and I know Brian Eno says there's not enough African in computers, but you know, I don't think there's enough African history in Brian Eno. The scaling exponent, and it almost exactly matches the scaling exponent for the relationship between wind speed and height in the Wind Engineering Handbook. So these guys are right on target.
Yeah, they're talking real like over our heads, right? But you see this right here, right? You see one, two, 1, 2, right?
That's
a binary symbol. That's an Odu right there.
You see randomly. And then you count off, and if it's an odd number, you put down 1 stroke, and if it's an even number, you put down 2 stroke. And they did this very rapidly, and I couldn't understand where they were getting, they only did the randomness 4 times. I couldn't understand where they were getting the other 12 symbols. And they wouldn't tell me. They said, no, I can't tell you about this. I said, well, look, I'll pay you. You know, you can be my teacher, and I'll come.
I'll pay you.
It's not a matter of money. This is a religious matter. And finally, out of desperation, I said, well, let me explain George Cantor in 1877. And I started explaining, you know, why I was there in Africa. And they got very excited when they saw the Cantor set. And one of them said, you know, come here, I think I can help you out here. And so he took me through the initiation ritual for a Bamana priest. And of course, I was only interested in the math. So the whole time he kept shaking his head going, you know, I didn't learn it this way. But I had to sleep with a cola nut next to my bed, buried in sand, and give 7 coins to 7 lepers, and so on. And finally, he revealed the truth of the matter.
No, that was so dismissive, right?
Yeah, only got one.
I'm sitting over here with this, that, the other, and 7 coins and 7 leopards, and this, that, the other, whatever the hell. I just want to get the information. Fuck all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter what he's saying. I just want to get the information.
And it turns out it's a pseudo-random number generator using deterministic chaos. When you have a 4-bit symbol, you then put it together with another one sideways. So even plus odd gives you odd. Odd plus even gives you odd. Even plus even gives you even. Odd plus odd gives you even. It's addition modulo 2, just like in the parity bit check on your computer. And then you take this symbol and you put it back in. So it's a self-generating diversity of symbols. They're truly using a kind of deterministic chaos in doing this. Now, because it's a binary code, you can actually implement this in hardware. What a fantastic teaching tool. That
Right. So they took the divination that he learned that he just dismissing. I had to eat with some, like, sit down with some coconuts and whatever, and a leopard or whatever.
So you know,
but I just want to know what the math was. So he was able to extract the real stuff out of it, but really what it is a mathematical binary code to extract data from the universe.
So you know that's what's next, right? They just gonna have, you know, AI cults, and they just gonna program.
Of course,
program it.
They already have them, and here's the thing. Is that so? They're over here like just dismissing it, like, oh yeah, I just had to do this. And this guy, he brought me. I said, I'll give you some money for it. He said, okay, fine. Here we go. Well, yeah, I had to like sleep with some coconuts and blah blah blah. Leopard, and there was a leopard over there with 1 leg, and one guy with an eye missing him. And then I had to like do this, and you know, but then I got the information, right? So here we go.
That should be. In African engineering
and now
skills.
He's geeking out
and
on it.
the most interesting thing I found out about it was historical. In the 12th century, Hugo of Santillana brought it from Islamic mystics into Spain. And there it entered into the alchemy community as geomancy, the divination through the earth. This is a geomantic chart drawn by for King Richard II in 1390. Leibniz, the German mathematician, talked about geomancy in his dissertation called De Combinatoria. And he said, well, instead of using 1 stroke and 2 strokes, let's use a 1 and a 0. And we can count by powers of 2, right? 1s and 0s, the binary code. George Boole took Leibniz's binary code and created Boolean algebra, and John von Neumann took Boolean algebra and created the digital computer. So all these little PDAs and laptops, every digital circuit in the world started in Africa. And I know Brian Eno says there's not enough African in computers, but I don't think there's enough African history in Brian Eno.
You don't say.
Yeah. Okay.
So the divination system is not just us like connecting with some of the demons and stuff like that. Because if you go on to ChatGPT, all ChatGPT is you're typing in something, the 0s and 1s are connecting, and then it's shooting back an answer. Same thing that happens in any database. Same thing that happens in the actual EFA corpus is that you ask a question, a number pops up. Let me even zoom in so you can see.
And the Odoo is the database.
Right.
So this a number pops up, and then it connects to the actual database of the information. And this would be like the database, right? So say this was the Odoo right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say that number, so you have 101, 102, all this other stuff. Can you see this?
Yeah, looking at it.
Right. So what happens with divination in E5 is that you would throw a number here. So the number would come out 8 or whatever, right? And so therefore, when you would come over here, 8 would be love the glasses. You understand what I'm saying? And that's pretty much not to sound, because this is 108. So imagine this 8, right? Or maybe 7 plus 1 equals 8. Heart. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens in E5 divination. It's not like just hokey spooky, hokey pokey spooky wookie. That's not spooky. It's straight up. This is what this number means. This number come out, it means that.
It's a real science and
sound like realism.
And it's on point. And that's what's so fascinating, that it's so on point that they're almost afraid. But remember, they had to copy all of that. And the beauty of it, when I went back and was doing my research, and I told people, they laughed. I said, EFA is 2.5 billion years old. No, oh yes, it is. I said, because they were using that when they're dealing with the nuclear reactor in South Africa. They was divining, getting the code down, and they programmed the machine. They call it like a microchip or something like that. Sister Monica, when they went to Africa, went to Russia, and they wanted to call it a microchip. That is not a microchip. Those are Pele chains laid out. Just gave them the formula, And we don't realize how powerful. That's why Ambam Bola says EFOC could mend the broken world. If we all could put everything in its place, from all this hocus pocus and stuff people trying to do to it, let it be what it is.
You would deal more with familiar spirits when you're just praying and you don't even know what you're praying to.
Right.
Sending out prayers and hoping that something like catches it and brings it back to you. That's more familiar. This is like straight science and math.
Like I tell everybody, and this is maybe a little bit off the subject, we got all kind of beings walking this planet. They came here from other starships, and they're walking around, and they're doing what's called shape shifting. They're able to shape shift. When they shape shift, they can look like you. And in the book warning says, be careful how you entertain strangers, for some have entertained angels unaware. What kind of angels? Where do they come from? What's going on? And then you go back to the time of the test tube baby, and you got cloning, and you got the sperm banks, and one thing after another. Got all these different things walking around Earth, and you think because it look like you, damn, it could be kin to you. Someone ain't even have a soul. But folks don't believe that. Well, you ain't got to believe it, because there it is. I've never seen So many people losing their melanin. Have you seen that? Their skin is they losing their pigmentation.
No, what they doing? Where is that happening?
All around, especially around in Louisiana, they're actually losing their pigmentation.
They getting lighter?
Yeah.
They not breeding into that?
I don't know what it is, but they're getting it's wild, man.
That's crazy.
Man, I have a story coming up. I'm waiting on him to be available. He was supposed to come up today, where he talked about how he saw him and his friend saw a werewolf, and whatever this thing jumped out and jumped on his friend, and his friend had a whole patch of white hair in the back of his head after the whole thing was done. It was never the same. Like it actually, whatever happened to him, literally switched his hair to white.
Scared him white. And I talked to a person the other day, Sister Monica, and he was saying how true it is down around Metairie, Louisiana. He said that's common. I said what? I said yeah. I said oh hell.
Oh, you spoke to another person after that?
Yeah, I talked to a person last week from down in Metairie, man.
Not the guy that I had told you. No, a whole other person.
A whole other person, man. This shit is true. Oh, what? He said, yeah, man.
So there is like some kind of beings down there that
some beings running around these woods and these swamps down here, man. But you don't want to encounter.
I'm gonna stay up here in Detroit.
Shouts out Detroit, but Detroit is wild too. You get going one of the abandoned buildings, you never know what you're gonna find.
Say that, but yeah, you can see them coming out them buildings though.
Yeah, but yeah.
And you go on 2nd Street, 2nd and Cash, you never know what you're gonna run into. It might be a
2nd and Cash looking up nowadays. You gotta come through.
Yeah, like I said, but not up to down the week.
It's looking
down
up
around there. He's from down around. Oh yes, man, that's known down around here. So oh shit. What is that?
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Yeah, okay. Call them what you want. Yeah. All I know that, and I know, cause man, we got all kinds of stuff down here. Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. But that's what we was trying to go with this is getting to the importance of getting on the right frequency and learning how to divine and work with it. And by doing that, if you wanted certain things to work with during that day, by lining up that particular Orisha of that day with the Orisha of that month, and you can divine to it and get answers. Because every Odu is supported by a particular Orisha or Orishas in a group to get things done. And they're there to assist us. Not to hurt, but they're there to assist us. And most folks don't know that there's nothing demonic about it. The demonic thing is about it being ignorant of it.
What is the Orisha? What are they but forces of nature, colors, this, that, the other, vibration?
That's all it is, energy. And you deal with you talk about nature. You deal with your chakras and all that because you got the inner and the outer. You know, we say, well, we got that, you know, but that's what we count on the 5. But there are those that work what we call in the astral plane. Those another things we encounter. And by us being spiritual, we go through a lot of changes when we so-called lay down and go into that zone when we call so-called full be sleep. Our spirit, no, he steps out and goes traveling. You know.
Mm-hmm. And I remember I did the whole thing when I discussed the fact that Ifa is actually a part of the body. Like when you actually break down the body and the whole body system. Hold on, I'm gonna break this down real quick. I'm gonna show you guys. Hold on, real quick. So let me show you this real quick because I really want you guys before we leave here, because you know it's so many people like that want to make it into a demonic thing, and when it's really about mathematics and spirituality, it's a ancient African mathematical system, ancient African science. But the fact is that the white people came with their science, and we forgot that we had our own. So let's go. The Atlantic slave trade from West Africa into America, Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, South America, North America. The practice in West Africa at the time of this transatlantic slave trade was Ifa, Afa, and various other nature-based cosmological traditions. Not only were they connected, but very much a part of society in those parts of Africa, as well as they are currently being practiced. Well, this is my debate with the Hebrew Israelites when we were discussing certain stuff. So please excuse me if I like kind of sound like I'm like going in, but this is a whole debate. So let's go. In the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, North America, and South America, the Black Hebrew Israelite movement did not really start in America until the 1880s, when a young man started the movement by the name of Frank Cherry, who co-founded a congregation in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The practice of Ifa actually helped the slaves be freed in Haiti. Okay. Isheshe. The original tradition and tradition of Ifa is Isheshe, and it is the traditions of antiquity. Now, when we talk about what is more practical for society, well, why not go to the root of your actual truth? Go back to your roots. You know, this is where this is our nature is the root. You know, it refers to Ishe meaning the source of origin, and Ishe meaning practice, our original ways of living, the tradition of antiquity, the original tradition. It encompasses the beliefs and customs and practices that have been passed down through generations, including worship of the Risha, ancestral veneration, and the use of divination systems such as Ifa. Why are the ancestors? I'm gonna forward a little bit more. When we talk about the head, the Torah has a complex concepts of Orisha and Ori, and their closest parallels are in the roles of angels, Malachim, and the soul, Neshama. Just as the Orisha act as mediators between Olodumare and humans, each governing aspect of nature and human life, angels serve as God's messengers, each with specific responsibilities like guidance, protection, or delivering divine messages. Ifa's concept of the macrocosm versus microcosm reflects the belief that the entire universe is mirrored within the individual human being microcosm, emphasizing the interconnectedness of all creation. This principle suggests that every element of the cosmos, including their reaches, natural forces, and spiritual energies, exists within the human being in a smaller individualized form. For example, just as the universe has a distinct forces that govern different aspects of existence, ergo Agun representing strength, Oshun representing love, these same forces are present within the individual's character, emotions, and destiny. The human being, through their inner head or spiritual essence, is seen as a reflection of the divine order and maintaining alignment and balance within oneself to ensure harmony with the broader universe. This concept underscores the idea that by understanding and harmonizing the inner self, one can impact and align with the outer world, making the macrocosm principle a foundational framework for achieving spiritual balance and self-realization. This is the ancestor worship is that. Well, you know what? If you don't know where you came from, I want to go into this.
Take on the traditions and the cultures of other nations. This is already provided for us. The 3 degrees continue, right? You have the this is pertaining to the 1st degree, the Mazabak, Nakashat, which means to learn by experience, or the copper altar, where the animal is sacrificed, which the animal also represents you being upon the altar. Quara, which means you're offering or your sacrifice, or the innermost part. You have the Shane Amadam Nakashat, which is the 2 pillars, which is also the wilderness area coming from Egypt to the land flowing with milk and honey. But it's the testing and trials of man. The Shawashan, which is the lily, or the renewal. Right? And then you have the Hayakal, which contains the menorah, which is the Manara, which also means to flow as water. But also the 7 priesthoods, also the 7 pillars of wisdom. Shalakan Shatam Ats, which is the tables of acacia wood. Shatayam, which means to go to and fro. Ats, which also means counsel. Okay, I'm gonna leave right there.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Thank you, Genesis. Thank you, Devion. Great presentations from both of you. I just want to let you know we're going to the 2nd round. I'm gonna go straight into.
All right, let's go into this mind and all that stuff and what he's saying. But I don't see where you. Hold on. I want you guys to hear because mind and all that stuff. I want you
to say, you know, this part of your 15 minutes is a rebuttal. Do what you want with your 15 minutes, starting when I remove myself. Want me to screen share this?
Yes.
When I remove myself, that's when your time starts. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be back in 14 minutes.
All right, so you know, we're talking about the mind and all that stuff and what he's saying, but I don't see where you can practice any of that in normal society without someone breaking all that down to you. Whereas in Ifa, like, it's pretty simple because you have a priest in place to actually break all that down. Like, I mean, I got confused. If I like, this is my first time hearing all that, and I have no idea what the hell he was talking about. Like, so imagine a person that's just new. Imagine a person with mental illness, and you're trying to explain all that to them, and the inner side of the mind. No, you know what? In Ifa, you know what I'm saying. Bottom line is that look, the Odu, you go to a Babalawo, he gives you a reading. Based on that, you get diagnosed with whatever the problem is. The Odu is broken down into various aspects of the body. Like it breaks down your digestion, your respiratory rate, your reproductive functions, your all these different sexual functions, whatever. And when you get your reading, you understand what's going on with a person mentally. as well as physically. Now, he keeps talking about the Orisha and the ancestors. First of all, your ancestors are a part of your DNA. They make up who you are. People are talking about you're worshiping the ancestors. Well, you're worshiping yourself because your ancestors make up everything that you are is everything that came before you through your bloodline. So what do you mean like that we're worshiping? It's not ancestor worship. It's that. Well, you know what? If you don't know where you came from, you don't even know that if you got something hereditary or not. I can have a heart problem that my grandmother had. My grandfather. I know right now that my grandparents and my people that passed down that my grandma had diabetes and had high blood thing, and so I know that when I see it within the family that it's okay. This is a hereditary. So you're talking about the worship of the animal. We venerate our ancestors because we understand that they are the source of to who we are today. So when we he's trying to like downplay the role of the people that came before us, and to me, it's just insane to like think about that like that when we wouldn't even be here if people didn't come before us. So just to give that reverence is evil and witchcraft, and the Torah is against that. Okay, well then, why do you talk about Moses then? Why are you giving him reverence and pumping him up and let my people go and all the other stuff? You should not talk about Moses. You should not talk about any. You shouldn't even talk about what is the purpose of the Torah if you're not talking about people from the past. And then you're talking about how do you diagnose illness using that? We're talking about what is more practical in society. How do you diagnose illness? When a person reads the Torah, how do they know if they're sick or not? And who tells them? Is it a priest? Who you just read that and you know what to do? You read the book and that's it. And then you just know off rip. Okay, the mind and this square and all this. When you read that, such an enlightenment should just come upon you that you understand that. No, in Ifa you have priests, you have Babylao, you have Olarisha priests that understand these things. They make up an aspect of the community. The Orisha are not just things that are worshipped as some kind of like thing outside of God. These are aspects of the body, physical health, your brain, your eyes, your ears, Ibeji, Orumila, the brain, Obatala, the eyes, Shango, the heart, Olokun, the blood. You understand? And when you get your reading in Ifa from a Babylao or Orisha, they are able to diagnose. Ifa is a scientific system of diagnosis of illness. From a mental standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a society. So they'll tell you, okay, watch out for this in society. Watch out for this in your health. You're going through some mental issues. You're feeling like kind of sad. You ain't had no sleep lately. You wonder about, okay, well, guess what? And then you might find out, okay, well, go and do this. Go and go get these herbs and go take a bath. Okay, I'm gonna do an Omiero bath, and then that's made up of certain herbs based on the Odu that comes out. There might be, if it's really bad, or you might be on death's door, they might say, okay, we might need to do a sacrifice or do something a little bit more stronger because you about to check out. You are so imbalanced that you and it's all about creating what iwapele and balance in the person, in the body, the mind, the spirit, and the community as a whole. Because what did I say earlier before? The microcosm affects the macrocosm. And the microcosm affects the macro versus the micro. So all these things are effective all across the board. Everything that you do affects the universe. Everything that the universe does affects happen. It's all connected, basically. And then we get into Iwe herbs, okay? In the environmental structure of Ifa, all right, all the Orisha are connected for specific herbs. Those specific herbs connect to a certain organ or a physical part of the body. So people get so wrapped up in the pictures and the images of the Orisha, but if you don't really go deeper into it, you would never know that this is really bodily functions. That these, and then when you get deeper into it, you'll find out, oh, okay, well, you guys are getting you guys are getting using sacrifices and this, that, the other. Okay, sacrifice could take many forms. Maybe giving up something, like not eating a certain thing. Maybe eating a certain thing like that you normally probably wouldn't do. Maybe fasting, changing in behavior. It both translates as an offering or a sacrifice. It has a broader meaning, modifying the energy field. You stop what you've been doing this, try something different. That's the sacrifice. That's the Ebo. I'm talking about that it's a demonic thing. He's gonna get into the demon. The Orisha, the ancestors, the demons, and this, that, the other. But there's a difference between we understand that there's a difference between demonic possession and spiritual possession. When a person is possessed, okay, a possession can not only just be like they're acting. A person can just be acting strangely. It's like in schizophrenia, a person was normally acting one way and now they're acting a certain different way. They are possessed at that point, and it might be a demonic possession. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different. We have accounts for demonic possession versus spiritual possession. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we talk about these different types of possessions that happen, those things are also spoke about in the Torah. We talk about King Saul. the one of the clearest examples of a demonic possession. When Saul was overtaken by the Spirit of God and begins to prophesy, appearing to lose control of his normal functions. Right, so that's some possessions. But he said, but it said that the evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. So I don't understand how the Lord is going to send the evil spirit, to torment him. But bottom line is that both of these things talk about the same exact things in some kind of a way. But I think that a lot of times it's very misunderstood from an Ephah perspective that, oh, okay, what you're doing is witchcraft, but then you have the same exact thing in the Torah. You'll say, oh, no, this is not, the Torah is against that. But then you can read it right out of the Torah, exactly the same thing happening.
Oh, boy. Now, that was a good one. Well, the odd thing I was laughing at is that Nebuchadnezzar wound up going to eat grass like an ox because he got possessed. And what people don't realize, understand, when you read the Bible, and there's a lot of things missing from the Bible. Have you ever heard of the slave Bible?
That's the one they gave to the slaves. It was missing some scriptures.
Hold on a minute.
A lot of that stuff that you were talking about, the Hebrews, they have it, but they deny it because it's basically all of that science is basically in Kabbalah. But they don't want to
because that's
but they call that demonic too. So
right, it's like okay,
but that's technically what
everything on this earth is created by God. Everything, even the demons.
Yeah, well,
why do people think or try to pretend that even the demons were not created by God?
When you get a second, just Google the Kabbalah heavenly man. When you get a second, you don't got to do it on here, but when you get a second, look that up. It'll cover. You'll see it covers a lot of the stuff that you was going through when you was in your debate. But what is that?
What was that saying?
What's that?
That is the slave Bible.
Turn it to the side. It look a little thin.
No, it is. Yeah, all the stuff in it. Yeah, this is called the slave Bible. I found this copy of I found out the name. I got it. There's a place in Natchez, Mississippi. The guy's name is William Natchez Johnson. He was a brother who owned black and white slaves. Built one of the richest one in Mississippi. And that's in his library was the original slave Bible. And I got an idea from it. I ordered the book, and everything it deals with slave, obey your master as unto Christ, and et cetera, and et cetera, and et cetera. I'm going like, oh man. But
say the submissive doctrine.
All that something.
Keep everything in line.
Yeah, and I laugh at man. These guys get to talking, and they have not done the etymology, timeline, chronology. They have not done. They're operating out of emotions, and because you can rattle off a bunch of data, don't mean you understand what you're rattling off. If you have not done the research, you don't know where it come from, who created it, and why it was created. You understand? So I tell them guys when they start trying to. One thing you cannot debate the Bible with the Bible. You got to go beyond it. I tell people, you can argue all day long because that's your emotion. And like the sister said, the Bible said that God created both good and evil. Isaiah 47 verse 5. It says he created both evil and good. I did all these by myself. So who you gonna blame?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got to do that when you got to do that when the concept of God takes all of the other aspects of nature into itself, as opposed to the West African concept.
Right. And I tell people, you remember, every religion has some white boy behind it other than Ephah. And it's not a religion.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Every mainline religion, you look at, it's a white boy behind it. Christianity, Judaism, Islam, going down the line. Ifa is the only science you have that was the white boy ain't behind it, or he's trying to imitate it. Every division. Have you heard of the Ecumenical Council, the 18 Ecumenical Councils of the Council of Nicaea and all this stuff where they was creating this Jesus character?
Oh yeah, when they got together
and created this Jesus character. Yeah. Have you ever heard of a group called the Piso family?
Yes.
Okay. So you hear about Marcion and Lucian and all these folks. They come and create their own book. Well, see, people don't realize this cat was trying to find a way to get in because the God of the Old Testament was too mean and too harsh. So they wanted to find one more humble.
Yeah, they thought it. They thought it was two different guys.
Yeah, well, matter of fact, it's more than that. It's 330,000 God before Jehovah. There's a book out there, 330,000 before Jehovah, and they list every last one of them and what they do, because every nation has a creation story. Every nation has their gods and demons. I'm going like the Jews got theirs from the Samaritan text from Gilgamesh, and they got this from there, and they got this, and they all blend together because they was time to create. And the other thing about it, my brother, they said ancient Egypt, right? Where's ancient Egypt?
In Africa.
You sure? Because when they talk, but isn't it funny? If you look up the Balfour Declaration, it says Israel was created in 1948. Pull it up, Monica. It's called the Balfour Declaration. It was created in 1948 between France, Britain, and the United States. May the 14th. Let's see. This is the Balfour Declaration.
It says was a public statement issued by the British government in 1917 during the First World War.
That's the first one, yeah. And finalizing. But it says creation of Israel, 1948. On May the 14th, 1948, David Ben, and you go right on into it. The Jewish age proclaimed the establishment of the state of Israel, et cetera, et cetera. And that we're dealing with right this day. That's why America supports Israel, because it's the part of the United States, and they're supposed to take care of them. That's the law. That's in their Constitution. This 1871, all that. And it's also in the Tanakh. The Tanakh is the Jewish Bible, right?
Yeah.
In the Tanakh, it says that this country was founded by Christopher Columbus after visiting Isabella and Ferdinand for a future support for the Jews, despised Jews of Spain. And that's what this country do. Everybody called them the chosen people. If they the chosen people, why on television begging for money for the poor Jews was kicked out of Spain? What kind of God they got?
And let me I want to really go a little bit further. I want to show this going a little bit further how I went into the Orisha and then into the Odu, because I really want to go into the fact that the Odu is really representative of the body. Now I'm going to show how the Hebrew Israelites are just so focused on this. This is what's weird about this whole thing, is that let me just play it.
Weights and measures or proper judgment. Leviticus 19 verse 15. You shall commit no injustice in judgment. You shall not favor the poor or respect the great man. You shall judge your fellow with righteousness, which means you shall have equal weights and balances of judgment. Prohibits immorality. Leviticus 19 verse 29. You shall not defile your daughter by making her a harlot, lest the land fall into harlotry and the land be filled with immorality. Deuteronomy 23 verse 17. There shall not be a prostitute of the daughters of Israel, and there shall not be a male prostitute of the sons of Israel. And you shall not be promiscuous. This is what the Torah prohibits. For forbidden relationships, whether it would be relationships of incest, which cause birth defects, and practices that reverse the natural way of life or law, which is what's needed to grow a nation. So like moho, bestiality, you know what I'm saying?
This was a conversation about which is more practical for society, right? So this was the conversation.
With incest, pretty much. This is all prohibited in the Torah. To have a better moral code and how to conduct yourself. Even today's judicial system is based heavily off the Bible or the Torah. American law in colonial days and continues to influence the judicial system today. Right now, the judicial system is not fair. But if you commit a crime, you go to jail, pretty much, or there's repercussions. And Nat Turner in the Bible, who used the Bible to fight back against oppression. But with that, I'll yield my time there.
Okay, great. All right, perfect. Now we're going to move into into the question and answer round. Basically, we will do 5 minutes for each debater. We will start with Genesis. Genesis, you have 5 minutes to ask him as many questions as you like. He has 1 minute to answer the question. I'm not going to do that one thing, which that's up to other debaters and other moderators, where the person has to stop when you say
Torah as an understanding does not have any kind of
tear apart his where you can address him and put his feet to the fire. Same with you, Devion. You know this stuff.
I want you guys to hear
so
this because
whatever you want to do, let me know when your time starts, and I'll start the timer.
I'll start the screen.
Okay. Now, are you ready to start your time? I'm starting your time now.
So a lot of times he's saying this whole time he's saying, the Torah. I don't understand why she keeps saying that the Torah have similarities. Okay, yeah, Ifa understands good character. Why is it that you believe that there is no other culture outside of like the Hebrew Israelites that has a culture that understands the balance of good character? Why do you think that that everything in existence that have ever existed except for the Torah as an understanding does not have any kind of foundational understanding of that within it when societies existed way before the Torah have ever existed?
Okay, go ahead. You have 5 minutes. 1 minute to answer that. Go ahead, Devion.
We can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Devion.
No, I was saying, are you asking me if other religions have an idea of balanced character, pretty much?
Well, basically, you're making it seem like that the Ifa does not have any concept of a balanced character of anything. It's just witchcraft. It's evil. I'm trying to understand, why do you feel that all these other beliefs, Hinduism? You said I tried to compare it to Hinduism and this, that, the other. Like all these things are just bad. With the Torah, we're about the mind and we're about this. I'm trying to understand, why is it that you feel like the Torah is the only civil thing? This book is the only thing that has that within it.
Okay, Devion, you have a minute to answer that. You are at 2 minutes, Genesis. So go ahead, Devion.
Because it says the Torah is the heritage of the congregation of Jacob. So that's how we build. That's how we build up as quote unquote Black Americans. That's how we build up our nation. Other nations already have their religion or whatever. Why do we have to go to someone else's culture to understand our own? I don't understand it. But it's similar to Hinduism. They're based off to aspects of nature and carnality, which is what the Torah prohibits.
Okay, that's your minute. All right, go ahead.
Torah prohibits
Genesis. I'm gonna now. You have your 2 minutes. I'm starting your time again. Ask your question.
You understand how crazy this sounds?
Your second question.
Did you hear me? That's crazy.
You're muted.
In my presentation, I explained, how the actual human body is understood within Ifa. Because when we're talking about what's more practical for society, how does the Torah heal? How do you heal yourself using the Torah?
Okay, your time is paused. Devion, you have a minute to answer starting now.
Healing yourself in the Torah represents your mind. So it's the building up of the mind, not of body parts or health. But if you want with the mind, you can also be in better health. As far as you said, mental illness, right? If someone is depressed, the Torah is a gateway in order to build.
Do you see how ridiculous this sounds?
It's that the Torah is a book of psychology and
can't be
basically how to improve the one who is lacking of ideas and progressive thought to remove the stagnation.
So if a person had gangrene in
their
their leg,
question. Go ahead.
A person had gangrene in their leg. How do they? If I had gangrene in my leg, how would I use the Torah to heal myself?
Okay, Devion, your time starts now.
You would. I don't know. The Torah doesn't state gangrene.
Or say my leg was about to fall off. How do I use the Torah to fix that?
The Torah doesn't state if your leg gonna fall off.
Say I'm about to have a heart attack. Does the Torah alert me of whether or not I might need to do something with my heart or whatever? How do I diagnose myself using the Torah of any illness?
You don't use the Torah to diagnose ailments.
So how does a community diagnose itself if they're only reading from the Torah?
Because one knows when his leg's about to fall off.
So how do they fix the problem using the Torah?
I'm sorry?
How do they fix it using the Torah?
The Torah doesn't state how to fix a leg
So
falling.
what do people do if the society needs a help in a medical format and they're only using the Torah? How do they survive when the Torah does not have anything within it that deals with health and how to maintain one's health and how to heal itself?
Well, it does have maintaining one's health as far as what you can eat and what you shouldn't eat, and also based off the Levitical priesthood. Once you have an ailment.
Wait, you popped your head up when he said that. You had to look up and say, "What? The Torah says what?"
Because this brother clearly does not understand the culture that he's debating. I mean, the simple answer to your question is that you would go to the priest. I mean, that's what they would do.
Period. That is the thing, is that people lost the priesthood. They with the Bible, the priesthood that is a healing aspect of the community. Now it has been replaced by medicine and doctors and pharmacopoeia. It's been replaced by that. Okay. So you have the holistic aspect of life is gone, so doing divination, right? Because this whole thing is really about, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because within divination is a diagnostic system. It's one thing to only talk about like that, okay, yes or no questions, but divination itself is a diagnostic system, not only of a person's mental health, spiritual health, psychological health, but also their health. Like, I know that when I get a reading, it'll come up, hey, there might be something going on with your, go get this, what I'm saying? Go to the doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've never seen one Babalawo not give me a run. It's almost like getting a fucking MRI. That's scam. You understand? Like, they'll be like, okay, you're fucked up over here mentally. This is what you're fucked up in spiritually. And go get your are you constipated? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't your leg hurt? I think your leg is hurting. Something wrong with your leg. You know what I'm saying? It's a combination of shit. So you don't have that nowhere else. In Christianity, you cannot go to a priest, a preacher, and be like, and he'd tell you, listen, go get your are you having a headache? go and sit in the bath and take this, That is the part. So, Baba, I want you to get into, I actually talk a little bit about E-Way, right? Herbs, right? And I'm gonna play a little bit what I said about herbs, because I think was I able to get into it, because I think I did. They asked me a question, I got into that. Let's go with it real quick.
Or disease, you are to go to the Levites.
Okay, so the Levites, all right, is that in the Torah? Do they use the Torah to heal you, or what do they do?
What do you mean? They will come and look at it, and if you were something that was contaminated, they will put you in contamination or away from the rest of the camp.
So they wouldn't. You want to know why that? Like that hold on, you want to know why he don't know what the Levites did? Is because there's no Levitical priest existing right now. There were Levitical priests that knew how to heal the community, but they don't exist to this day. They're not using the Urim and Thummim and using those things because all like Hebrew Israelites are based in Christianity. Go ahead, Baba.
I was gonna say that earlier, that when you had played earlier, that really is cosplaying Christianity for most of them. They really is, because it's the same. You got the same beliefs. The only difference is they believe that they're the people in the book. But other than that, there's not really much difference. If you really want to get down to the brass tacks, if they were really practicing Hebrewism, it would look a lot more like Ephah. if they were.
Baba, and you know that he actually practiced Hebrew Israelite for the longest.
Yeah, and the thing about that is like my brother said, they are just perpetrating a concept, an idea for identity and approval of the state when they are not. For instance, he was when you hit on the head. According to the 613 laws in the Torah that they most don't talk about, it tells you what to do when you go to the priest. And he must divine and get the answers. Most of them didn't know it's 613 laws that's in the Torah that addresses everything she's talking about. And the priest had to divine because he's been trained to get answers. Okay, these guys out here, they want to be Hebrew Israelite and Christians. That's a bad mix. I've been there.
So, do you think that? Okay, here's the question: was the original Hebrew religion at some point similar to the I Ching, Ifa?
The original religion came out of Zoroaster. Well, let me go back. The original religion of Abraham was Zoroaster.
Right, but I'm saying, was it a complete system? Like at some point, the system lost its completeness, right? So in China, like I Ching and Taoism has a complete system. It's not just a spiritual system; it's a spirit of divination. It's the health system. The whole thing, the whole community can survive just based off of that one system. Hinduism, same thing. You have within Hinduism, you have what's their Ayurvedic systems, all that other stuff. African have Ifa, they have like the whole system of Ifa and like the Orisha that do this. But what I'm trying to understand is like what happened to Judaism? Why is Judaism not whole? Why is it separated from the actual diagnostic system that would exist? I know at some point it had to have a diagnostic system and a divination system. Why at some point did they block Judaism from the divination system that helped them to diagnose? What is the reason? Why?
Well, according to their teaching, because they fell under the curse and the ephod was taken from them, and they no longer had the ephod of the priest to go to, and they suffered that because that's what they come up with. That you will no longer have the ephod. The ephod was a system. Once their body system was removed from them, they was out there like a fish out of water. And that's in their scriptures that they lost it because of disobedience. But remember this: we're talking about a allegory or stories that were written, borrowed from other people, because everything is not there. I was talking to my brother the other day, and I asked him about the book of Yasher. He said, "I got that book." Well, in the book of Yasher, it tell you a lot of things that happened that a lot of people don't even know what happened at the Red Sea. What happened at the Red Sea? Well, it's in the book of Yasher. So why is it in the Torah? Well, it's in the book of Yasher. It's in the book of Gad, the good prophecy. So a lot of things we're talking about. Remember, they borrowed their stuff from other cultures and they blended it.
Question: do you think that I would say the people in New York, right?
Yeah.
The Ashkenazis, whatever they call themselves, that wear those like round hats. Do you think that they're hoarding out? Do you think that they like have bobble out like kind of divination systems that they like when they go to the doctor, but they're like hoarding that information from the rest of the community, and that they're still practicing like some kind of a system, but they are blocking people from knowing this, but they know that they do this, because it's something. Why are the Hebrew Israelites are just so Christianized that it's almost like someone brought this religion and cut it off at a certain point, gave us a little bit of it, and then the ones that
I say because that's what happened. You got when it came around, began to take hold, you had people like Yahweh ben Yahweh had his philosophy. Then you had Ben Amin remember I told you about back in the day when a lot of our people were trying to find an identity of the approval. And we took on many jackets, everything from Islam. I'm not a Sufi. I'm not a Shiite. I'm not Ashkenaz. I'm Sephardic. I'm not a Messianic. I'm Orthodox. All these different labels that we put on here trying to find identity. And that's the problem, because most of the so-called leaders that got this so-called great awakening, spiritual awakening, start teaching a philosophy that a lot of folks bought into. And from that, you got denomination. Now you got war. You got the 3%ers. You got this group. You got that group. And they all claim to be coming out of the Bible. That's why it's called the Book of Confusion. You know, for 200 years, you was not allowed to even touch it. Now you got these folks out here, 85% illiterate, don't even know what it even is to get into the book, don't understand the etymology, chronology of the book, how it came to be, and where those Jewish so-called priests got it from. You know, and most folks know that the Jews are not Jews. Those are Khazars. They are Khazars. That's a whole other group. They are Zionists. Another whole group. And you trying to follow them? They in their book called the Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion. Andrew, have you heard of it?
Heard of what?
The Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion.
No.
You got to get it. It gives you the whole playbook on taking the world over under Zionism, allegedly under the laws of Moses. And it ain't missed yet. It was founded back in 1489. In 1492, Christopher Columbus was commissioned to come to a new world to find out a place for the despised Jews of Spain. His name was Christopher Columbus, and he went to Isabella and Ferdinand to get the money to buy the ships. It's in there to knock.
Wow. You gonna have me run through my book budget. But
hold on a minute.
But that's crazy.
I'm gonna play a little bit more of this. So I want you guys to hear how people are getting brainwashed about this whole thing, and maybe we'll do a whole show about this. But the main thing I wanted to understand about the divination, I wanted to show, because this conversation really discussed divination.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It really talked about divination and the thing that the divination really does. Because people have a very
okay.
I got that one.
Okay, but what I'm talking about is called the protocol. Now I got it put up, but that's one we'll get into, and most of them don't realize that the whole thing. And I know we're gonna get back to this divination because we saw it on the side, but reason was because they took an idea and growed a large following behind it. Because you got a large following don't make you be right. You know, I mean, you got a bunch of folks you done bamboozled into believing one thing, and you're not. First and foremost, the guy you call in Yahweh Shah, Jesus, was never a Christian because he didn't exist. The word Christian did not exist during that time when he was allegedly crucified. And if you listen to what he said that he didn't die. And then, and the odd thing is this: they said he died for the sins of the world. Deuteronomy 24:6 said you can't do that.
Can't happen. You can't die. It can't happen.
It can't happen. And the only trying to say he died for insurrection, going against the same thing shit they did on January the 6th is what he was allegedly done to the Roman government, and why they crucified him. They crucified folks every day in there in Rome. And the cross was an upside down X. It was not like they got it going. There's a book called The Passover Plot by Hugh J. Schoenfield. It tells you the whole and how he faked his death. How the man really faked his death. See, by taking the snake venom and stuff on a reed, gave him the appearance of death, got him in the room, gave him aloe vera and other herbs to wake him up. He walks out of the thing, goes into Asia. On the way out, he runs across the disciples who was fishing and says, look, and that's how they saw it goes. So look, fellas, give me something to eat. I want, give me something to eat. I'm gonna eat with you. He said, a spirit does not have flesh and blood. This man standing there eating fish and drinking wild, what he said, he eating fish and honeycomb. And he walks away. Yet he told the woman, don't touch me. But he told the men to handle him. He said, touch me not, for I have not yet ascended. Get to the boys, say, handle me, see that it is I. Now we got a problem. The woman can't touch you, and she'll be at the tomb, but the guys that gone fishing can touch you and sit down and have a meal with you. Then you walk off to the distance. Yet they say they are Christians. There was no such thing as a church back during that time, or the word Christian. It didn't exist.
Wasn't a Christian.
No, because they became Christian at Antioch in Acts 11:26. It was the black men of the Negroes out of Antioch that named them Christians, according to the record.
I mean, that's the answer right there. That's why that's really the answer is Jesus, because Jesus is their sacrifice, which means you can't go back and identify how the old culture was because you're too stuck on him being that sacrifice. So you don't analyze how the priesthood was ran and when they did sacrifices or why they did it or why the people went to him, because Jesus is your sacrifice.
Right.
And so if you leave it at that, that's all you're gonna have. So let's go. Let me play a little bit more of this. I want you to hear this.
Okay. Get the nail on
that if you wanted to, but you have 1 minute and 30 seconds left to ask more questions. When he's talking, your time is paused. Your 5 minutes. So would you like to ask another question? Are you finished answering that? You have 30 seconds left, Davion. Do you want to move on?
Would you like to expound upon that?
Is he
okay. So the Levites, who were the Levites, and would they be considered similar to a priest of like an ephod priest?
No, they would not be considered similar to an ephod priest.
Why?
Because they didn't practice divination.
Yes, they did.
So the Levite priests did not have their own form of divination. See, listen.
No.
I'm sorry.
So what about the Urim and the Thummim and also the casting of lots that happened in the Torah by the Levite?
The Awariyam and the Thamayam means to give off light and perfect, which is what the priest is supposed to be. The high priest, only the high priest wore it. And the casting of lots was to determine something, not contact the ancestors in order to figure out an outcome.
Sure. You keep talking about.
Let him finish his time if he wants to. You have about 40 more seconds. Are you done, Debbie?
You see how ridiculous
the Levites, well, actually, only the high priest wore the Awariyam and the Thamayam in the pockets, and he represented himself as well as all of Israel to atone for their sins. So I mean, I don't know what that was his role.
Anyway,
which meant the Thamayam just means.
I can't even talk about possession. Do you guys understand anything about musical resonance in the Torah? Is there any room to understand vibration in the Torah?
And you have a full minute to answer that, brother, and then we move on to you. Go ahead.
No, but people did play instruments as far as like the sons of Asaph and any instruments that were played throughout the Torah. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Music has frequency, so your brain has frequencies.
All right, so let's go straight, flip it over, and now, great job, both of you. You guys, some people, I don't know if you were confused. I don't think the debaters were confused. I think that went well. So let's do that for you now.
There's nothing in the Torah to talk about.
Essentially, you have 5 minutes to ask as many questions as you can. Genesis, you will have a minute to answer. I would like for you to clarify, but Devion, I wasn't really sure, so I kind of maybe interrupted you. Let me know if you're not going to use your full minute. You know what I'm saying? Say I'm done, or that's all, or something like that. Also,
they still say there's 256 verses of poems that they would recite. So I don't know. That's what they call the sacred ephod text, the Odu. Well, let's continue on. Does other nations worship nature?
Yes.
So therefore, ephod is nothing but animism.
don't exactly know what animism is, but I don't believe that Ifa is just animism. It is an entire societal structure. So when you're only talking about the aspect of nature and worshiping nature, you're really limiting the understanding of Ifa to just bare bones understanding. There's an entire structure and spiritual, community, environmental, all types of structure. If you actually look here, there's a spiritual, community, mental health, physical health, environmental, and all those are tools for personal development. If you only want to break it down into only just nature worship, I think that you would be missing a lot. It's a holistic approach to life.
Well, all the Orishas were examples of nature, which is also practiced in Buddhism, Taoism, Shintoism, and many other major religions all over the world. So it makes it no different from those other religions. As she stated at the beginning,
No, just let him go. Just answer the questions, Genesis.
I'm sorry.
As she stated at the beginning of her presentation.
You're at 1:30 seconds, Jevion, to ask. You have more questions?
Yeah, I got more.
Okay.
Did Ifa give birth to voodoo and Santeria?
Okay, you have a minute to answer. Go ahead, Genesis.
Ifa gave birth to various religions and actually have the Odu to back up the religions that it gave birth to, including the Torah. Wait, okay, what were you trying to show? Hold on, let me go ahead.
It's not going to be clear, but and it's coming
the
up.
Role of the Levites.
What does it say? Music and song. I'll read it because it looks like it's coming up. So, judging disputes. They pronounce blessings over the people daily. Maintain the tabernacle. Officiated sacrifices. Collected taxes. Taught people the law. Music and song. Some Levites served as musicians, providing music for the temple services. So, the brother just don't know the culture, and because, like I said, they cosplaying Christianity, which doesn't teach none of the culture, and everything is the J-man. So it just don't. It just don't seem. It just seems like he don't know what he's talking about. Because if he did, then there would be a lot more. Oh, you know what? This is like this.
And that was my goal, was to show the real goal of that debate was not to really. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
My goal of debating was not to cause a separation.
Mm-hmm.
It was more to show the similarities. I was really doing that as a strategic thing to show that there were similarities, but the way that it was approached was like, no, I have to attack E5. And I'm like, well, bro, don't y'all have? But he didn't even know about sonic and sound there, did all that stuff. What? Like, so every culture has that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he don't know.
He just don't know.
And he's only regurgitating what he's been taught. And he's good at ecology. When he's good at ecology, he run it all down.
Ecology.
when he don't know what he's talking about because he have not done the research. You understand? And what he's talking about that the Urim and Thummim, but he forgot that in the story of David, when the Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant, David divined. He didn't use the priest. He did the divining himself and got the answer. So it was not kept just for the priest. Whoever had the tools could use it. If you know how to use it. That's
just like y'all gave me these. Just like y'all gave me these 4 pennies.
Yeah.
And that's what it really boils down to. Is that, like, listen, everybody could divine. Everybody is a priest. Everybody had their priestlyhood.
Yeah.
And if you're taught, you could do it. But the bottom line is that people are so caught up into
in religion.
It's evil. It's terrible. It's like, bro. Yes or no? People divine when they want to find out who's gonna play. Who gonna get the first ball in a bat? What you say, Baba? When they figure out who gonna play first?
Off the corn to see who gonna give a kick, who gonna receive.
Right. That's a divination. Okay, take the coin, throw it up, heads or tails, boom. That's a divination.
And can I just make one point that to just kill the whole argument?
Yeah, come on with it.
You got to keep in mind, right? They cast lots all throughout the Bible. That's what the people did to make decisions. You can see they cast lots to see who was gonna do what.
Yeah.
The people could do that. That's something that was easy. Just like y'all showed me.
Didn't have to go to a priest to do it. That's
Right.
the main thing.
You just showed me how to use these 4 pennies in 5 minutes. Guess how long it take to teach somebody how to read? They wasn't reading them scriptures. Couldn't nobody read. So it's much easier for them to communicate to their God using these tools than it is to use one of these.
Yeah, come on.
Because for the majority of recorded history, people couldn't read. So the priests or the scribes, they depended on them. That's where the faith aspect came into it, because they had to. It wasn't no scrutiny until everybody got the books. When the Protestants got it, that's, you know. So people really forget when they talk all about, you know, Torah this and Torah this for the community. In the book, it tell you that has to be written in your heart. Basically, you got to memorize it. Just like the Babalaos memorized the old dudes, because they couldn't read or write either. So
no, but the Odus were in song format, easy to remember.
And that's where you also got the song.
You say Mary had a little lamb. I remember Mary had a little lamb since I was a kid.
Exactly. Or your ABC.
Had a little lamb.
But I mean,
I know Mary had a little lamb, and that's all the Odu is. Songs that people remembered from childhood, because most Babalaos have learned this from. If you actually go into the culture, they learn that at a young age. Mary had a little lamb. You know, jingle bells. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's something I just learned? I believe I read it in the Ephesians book you gave me, but it was talking about how the Babalaos had to memorize. I don't know. Maybe I saw it. I don't know. I'll be going down rabbit holes. But basically, it was saying that the first 4 verses and then the last, I think maybe it's the first 3 or the last 2, they have to pretty much recite the Odu verbatim. But then in between is where they can alter the Odu or alter the story to apply whoever is coming for the consultation.
Exactly. And those are called apathices. They tell them the story, and whatever one the client choose that fits his narrative, that's the one they use. It's in there. You're right. It's in there. You got a choice. And he quotes so many apathices, and you find one that meets your situation, and you deal with it. You know. Yeah. So yeah, you own it. No doubt about it. And that's and that is the objective of teaching our people now what you've learned in these few days, how to pick up a simple tool and get immediate answers. And you already had an unction in your spirit. What it was saying is on point. Right off the bat. That's confirmation. I ain't got to pray down and ask for lightning over here and rain over there. And how many doves gonna fly to the sky? Know that you answer my prayer, God. I got an answer ready in. And I can either deal with it or not. And remember, the Levite was the children of Aaron. After a while, they're gonna run out. That's all it was. And the priesthood was cleaning up because they was swapping the animals. But your animal ain't good enough. They take you buy this one, we'll take yours and we'll kill this one. But all they had was a big party going on, man.
Yeah,
and it's going on now.
They say all the priests eat good, huh?
Oh man, it was good.
They say the same thing about the preachers now. The preachers eat good.
They eat good. They eat good. Got the best wine.
Say, come and make this offering.
Yeah, you come bring that. I can't use yours because yours is not pure. We're gonna take this. What you gonna do with mine? Oh, we eat that one. You know, and every Jewish temple I went to down in the basement, then they had a wine cellar. They had all kind of stuff down there under the temple, and they throw some hell of a parties, man. I'm going like, damn, you know. But it's all because.
Can I ask a question? Is it true that some of the because it's kind of on that, you know, on that with the priesthood, is it true that the Babalaos some of the sacrifices that they requested changed as they started to get colonized. So, like for example, starting to request things that they were trading with, like the Portuguese and the Dutch, tobacco, where or certain alcohols or spirits. Because I saw this on the documentary. I just want to confirm if it's true or not, to your knowledge, that a lot of times some of the Babalaos started to change. Some of the required sacrifices to fit some of those vices that they were getting, like tobacco and alcohol. Do you know if there's any truth to that?
It's truth to it. It's truth to because a lot of times their situation dictated their morals and what they wanted this. And even to this day right now, it depends. Here's a cat, the Babalao, right? And he's got a car note for $1,100. He got a house note for $1,200. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go and do it. I'm gonna do initiate. I'm gonna charge $6,000. That ought to cover my expenses and this, that, and the other. So whether one may charge $200, I'm getting $650. $1,000 or $2,000. And that was the danger back in the day because of our ignorance. They would charge us astronomical prices for stuff. And when you guys, you know what's happening, because the whole thing is once you're initiated into a program, they're supposed to teach you how to know the old news and know all the keys of the proverbs to teach you how to carry to the next level to be a priest in your home. They didn't do that. They made it you become some servant. If you read in that E5 book, it took 21 years for you to become a proficient Babylon. You became you stayed in servitude 21 years. Where in the way you're gonna say for somebody work for somebody, but in servitude for 21 years of your life just to learn how to throw the old Pele when they got books on it now?
Mm-hmm.
See,
I did read
back
that.
then they had no books. They didn't have books, so you was obligated. If you wanted to know, I may teach you one a day or one every month, and I said you got to memorize this. Now your memory sometimes give out on you. You get fogged. So how you gonna remember all this? You probably remember what all you did yesterday. I'm serious.
Yeah.
So I was glad when Osamari put this stuff in writing. Now I've seen Babalaos make mistakes trying to read a person from memory. We all do is look down at your cheek and see what combination it is and what it'll do that is, and look at it and see what did that guy, his opinion of that, what it said. And I can use his and come up with my own concept by reading 3 or 4 others. I got so many different Babalaos stuff over here. Then I go back and I'll ask you which one is on point with my yes and no. It'll tell me yes or no. And sometimes you will get an unction within your own spirit what to tell the person. You ain't got to look at the other people's stuff. And 9 times out of 10, you'll be on point because now you have synchronized your spirit and the client's spirit, and you're getting data, you get information. See, and I'll tell people, I want my Babalawo to be sober. Don't be smoking no blunt, knocking down no gin, and throwing no chain telling me shit, because it ain't gonna happen.
Say that.
No, you playing with my life, man. You playing with my life and my spirit, and it ain't gonna roll like that. But I've seen it happen. And I taught my wife. She was getting to read one day, and Babalawo was reading another, throwing it, and she was calling. He said, "How you said, come my husband taught me. You're not gonna find me." Then he talking about, well, see, the old dude said you gotta have sex with me. That's bullshit. That ain't gonna happen. A lot of them use these things to get over, and that's sad. And we got to clean it up in order for people trying to find true spiritual elevation. It ain't about joining this culture or this tradition. It's about trying to get myself in order. So when I got to deal with things, I can get answers. And that's the tool right there. That's the tool, And I tell people all the time, this is why I teach everybody that I deal with a basic form of divination. So when you get in a situation, you can handle it, And when you and this comes to what my sister's talking about, when you wear certain oils, not cologne, certain body oils will help you in your business. Especially if you're going in the bank to get money or a lending institution. You want to wear patchouli. when you're dealing with white folks. You understand? Or you want to look, you want to sit there and check this out. Ifa taught me this. Where is the window to the soul? Where is the window to the inner soul?
See your eyes, right?
Hmm?
Your eyes?
Yeah, which one?
Don't give me the line.
It's the feminine side, your left side. It's your feminine side, the left side. That is the window to the soul. So if I look in your left eye,
ain't that what left eye is? Left eye. That's crazy.
Yeah,
left eye.
Yeah. And when you look in there and you think in a thought in the subconscious, you can actually project that thought into its inner subconscious. Subliminally so. I've gotten $30,000 my credit bad pack of Winchester. I sat down from a guy and bought a truck. Credit bad, man. But I got in front of him and we was talking. And while he was talking, I'm feeding his thought, let me have the money. And before we left out, I got when the dude wrote me a check for $32,000 to go pick up the truck I wanted to buy.
Mm.
So I don't know why I'm doing it. I said, no, I do. There are certain things we possess.
I do. You said I do.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm giving you this money. I know why, because I didn't
know why. Because you know they call it what they call the evil eye. But that's the thing you talk about. I'm able to look into the windows of your soul through the left side, which is the feminine side. The receptive. Ifa taught me that.
Ooh, Lord. Okay, it's getting hot in here, honey. He said, look into the eye, look into the one eye. But you know, now the white people are right now telling people the same thing. They just now revealing that on a diary of a CEO and stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, if you want this, you got to do this. Talk to somebody, look at their, this is not something that, you know, if you don't watch these other things, so the white people are teaching each other this stuff, but if you don't watch those programs, you don't even realize they're teaching each other this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you getting in here.
They tell you, don't look at my face, nigga. Don't look at my face. Don't look at me. Look at the ground. Because we have the power to change their mind by interjecting a thought into their inner subconscious. You know. I watch a little thing, the little gecko on TV. He'll do on this insurance. He be staring at you and he say, "Did you feel it?"
You gonna get the insurance? It's just one eye looking at you. You gonna get it?
He said, "Did you feel it?" we had a moment. But these things are real, man, and I've done it. I've done on many occasions. Yeah.
But you know what's so funny is, let me tell you something crazy. Is that like this morning, it's a guy I know, and he was talking about he was, you know, he's bad mouthing me, you know. Genesis always got these weird people on our channel and this, that, the other. And I'm like, honey, you probably need to like look into some of this stuff because you know, like okay.
This is the lick here.
I love the channel. I just found it, and I appreciate, you know, the guests. I appreciate you even allowing me on the panel. But yeah, I love the channel. It's just, I was telling Baba I was on watching all the videos last week. I was going through just.
How many? You watched them all? Oh, wow, you watching a lot of them?
I said I done clocked in about 12 hours.
Really?
Listening.
Wow.
Yeah, I was listening to them. Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, it connect. You know, I have.
Sometimes I don't even know. I be like, what am I doing this for? Sometimes I feel it's glad to find out someone is actually.
Keep going. Keep going.
Because I got cussed out this morning. Oh, you got these weirdos, and
that's all a part of it. Yeah,
not at all. Not at all. You know, the people that you know, they'll gravitate to it. That is for the people that is for.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was getting roasted. I ain't gonna lie. On the other channel, honey, I was getting roasted. I was like, bro, I'm like, you don't see what's going on. You don't see like the information that's being, like being shared on this channel. And I want to give a shout out to Cordoba Organics. I did get the package. If she happens to look at this, I did get the package. Me and my daughter are going to open this together and we're gonna like do it. Shouts out to Cordoba Organics. But yes, like and I'm gonna make a commercial about this. I'm gonna start like doing commercials. Like when people send me products, I'll make a custom commercial. So if you have a product and you want us to like to check it out, I'm gonna do a custom commercial. Send me the product. Yeah.
Do an unboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to like, and I'm not gonna do. It's not gonna be like just some regular commercial stuff. It's gonna be like people that have like organic stuff, all that stuff. Okay, let's go.
But no, I enjoyed our fellowship this week with my brother there. Man, we was on the phone. We were dropping it, man. He said, man, I could relate, man. I
Yeah,
watched 12 hours. I said 12 hours. Yeah, man. I hate when I miss them. Oh man. So yeah,
I was mad I missed the one last week. Man, I got on, it was like ended 20 minutes. I'm like, damn.
Wow, I had no idea that people were looking forward to them because I would put I honestly, what I do, I stop like broadcasting when I'm doing stuff because it felt like remember like when we first started, it was almost like a negative energy was getting put out to where his like camera would be all jacked up. So I stopped like telling people ahead of time when I'm gonna do it. I just started doing it because I was like, it's like it was so much negative energy to where people's cameras and stuff, like the whole live would be brought down. It would be weird. So I'd like to say, you know what, just do it. And then people that's paying attention, they'll see it, but I'm going to start promoting it now more, letting people know ahead of time, like about a day or so. But I used to like really like be pushing it a whole week beforehand. I was like, hey, coming up on Wednesday, but I'm like, bro, it got so weird, and we would do the show. Because if you see our old shows, me and Baba, man, it would be crazy, right, Baba?
Yeah, they were. But we was out there. We was out there though. But like I'm saying, so I'm working on your package now. I'm gonna put a few extra little things in there because y'all
done gave me so much. Y'all done gave me so much.
Man, I loaded up my car. He said,
"Look, man, look."
Oh, come on! You got that one too. How much you pay for that book?
Man, look!
I told you.
How much you pay for that EFI book? How much you pay for that?
Man, honestly, these alone was about this. These two alone cost me about close to $300 right now.
Oh my God, that EFI book is $150. I know, but I gave it to Baba.
And this is the thing. You know why I'm mad? Because I was gonna buy it 6 months ago. And watching y'all videos made me get it, but it was cheaper then, and I was kicking myself because son was telling me to get it. Now I'm on the right path, y'all.
Okay.
That book, that EFI book right there, listen, let me tell you, that one that's blue that says EFI.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how like something about that book. When I showed Baba Oreste that book, he said, "Oh, you got why you have this?"
Why you say that, huh?
He was like, "Why you don't need this."
This one here?
Yes, he said, "Why you have this? You don't need to have that."
Yeah,
and I gave it to him. I paid $150 for that book.
It ain't. Yeah,
I don't know how much it is now, but back then,
how much
I don't know.
It is. It's how much it is, and that Ephism was $130.
Man, them books is not a joke. Like, bro, they're expensive as fuck. Like,
they no joke. And I'm in the beginning. You see my bookmark at the very beginning. Right. I got a long way to go, eh? Long way to go.
Well, you know how you're supposed to really read that book. You're supposed to like divine, and then when you get those
like a reference book, right?
Yeah.
Like a database, When you get your Odu, it comes out whether it's Agbe. Then you go to the channel, the chapter, because that's what Babalawas use to read people. That's the actual book right there. That's one of them.
One of them.
I see.
And what I like about that book is that it gives you a breakdown of the Odus, and the child is born under this sign, what this means. So when you go through that, you may find out about when you're born under the sign of Oshamara. This is that, this is what you've expected. That carries all that in there. In the other book, you're gonna find everything has its place, but you got to bring it all together.
Listen, I don't know no Babalawo that ain't like dual reading and didn't whip out a bunch of like books and all type of damn books and leaflets and pamphlets and shit like that.
Hey, look, what the doctor do? He come in, he asks you them questions,
and he go
right back.
Huh? No, you go to the computer, go to the desk, or call his buddy.
Yeah.
And
but
then they
before
go
the internet, he go right back to his office with this big old library.
You can't remember all that shit. It's too much to remember.
He said he looking at such and such is complaining about X, Y, Z. Let me go see what the book say about that.
Yeah, that's the same thing, bro.
Not only that, the judge in the court used a thing called Black's Law Dictionary. He go look at what we call case studies. He found a case like yours, see how it was carried out, and he deal with it from that. Well, I got a Black's Law Dictionary. And it comes in like 1, 2, and 3. The big one is the 4th edition. That's why I sent you today about that what is a pre-white person?
Yeah.
I
saw that.
And that's Black Law Dictionary. So when you go into the Naturalization Act, it tells the judge in the court how to determine this case and what was case study. And I'll tell every Black family, because like now when you get it, it says, and now you're seeing it. What is the adult age for a female?
18.
No, ma'am, it's 12.
What?
Yeah.
12.
12.
In America?
It's 12. It's called civil law and common law. Under the civil law, Black's Law Dictionary, it says, what is an adult? It says a young female from the infant to 12 is an adult, and a young boy is 14, while they can try him as an adult.
So why is a woman can be tried for an adult earlier than a man?
She's more mature before the man.
So if my daughter did something crazy at 12, she could be tried and put into a female prison?
As an adult, if they wish they want.
That's crazy.
That is insane. See? I don't know if y'all paying attention to this conversation that we're having. You know, it's weird in like damn near 3 hours, but this is the information that we talk about here, you know. Now earlier I went into that case, you know what I'm saying, that was going on. I'm not sure. Black's Law Dictionary. You got that's the 4th volume right there, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the conscious community's favorite version. Don't they update it?
Yeah, that's a more. I'm on
page, the Moors love that one.
I'm on page 71. Civil law. It says a male infant who has obtained the age of 14 is an adult. A female who has obtained the age of 12. Then it gives you the case. Dominantly Title 221, page 108. And it tells you they can be tried as an adult. And that's Black's Law Dictionary.
So basically, once you hit puberty, they say you're an adult.
Wow.
And that's Supreme Court. They all use this sucker.
We need listen. So next week, what is going to be discussion in Principles of Ifa? So do you want to like keep on with the Principles of Ifa? Or you want to get into other stuff from there?
No,
do you want to keep up?
Well, with if we got the basics down and get them started on the elementary divination system, that's cool. And if you want to get further, we can go further. But now we need to understand why, like we're talking about now. Because like my brother saying, a lot of Black families, you can't go in there stalking the street. You got to talk what's in the book. And Black's Law Dictionary, every Black, they're changing laws. And right now, they just passed a law in Louisiana that you're an adult at 17. They've been doing it for 14. The little kid they killed in Mississippi, electrocuted because he was 14 years old, tried him as an adult. what they did out of the book. And now with all these new laws, you better know what's in that courtroom.
I think we can move from. I think that we have shown like the basic divination.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about divination, hit up Baba Yashabaya and get more details about divination. The next things that we're gonna like really talk about is law. We're gonna talk about like government. We're gonna talk about things that have to do with even just staying free, because right now I think there is they are trying to put us behind bars. I mean, I believe that it's a rush, and then you have like this whole thing where you have like the supremacist mindset where they're beginning to really like focus in on black crime and put it out here and make us seem like a bunch of like monkeys.
Well, and not only that, what's going on now, and I'm pretty sure my brother's aware of this, that the South African government kicked all the white folks out. Now Trump is trying to bring the white folks as refugees to America. They chartering planes to bring them in here.
Mm-hmm.
They actually started doing that.
They've already started doing it.
Basically
Why?
saying,
Now the
talking
question is
about
why?
race discrimination.
No, but what's the real deal?
They're trying to build up like a army of white people to fight against.
The white race is dying out so fast.
They don't want to be the minority.
And they're trying to get everybody out that ain't, to bring the numbers down, to bring them back up, because the what's it called, the stenographers, they've gone from 75% to 53.2% of the population.
So they out of here in about 20, 30 years. They said
Yeah,
they're gonna
man.
get greeted out the game.
And matter of fact, one of the grand wizards of the Ku Klux Klan told me personally, when I was interviewing, that the only thing the white man fears is the black man's penis. He can actually genocide them out of existence.
That's what Francis Cress Welsing said.
And I'm telling you,
that's
that's
no point arguing.
Yeah.
The grand. And listen, I want to talk about. So listen, tomorrow I want to let y'all know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So I'm going to be interviewing this guy, the gun or whatever. He's talking about the whole situation with Ryan Hitton. I mean, it gets deep. And so tomorrow I'm going to have Richard Taylor on here tomorrow at 6. I'm going to give you like a little snippet of what's going to happen tomorrow. I would love for both of y'all to come up here and be a part, because it's going to be an open panel. We're going to all talk about this stuff, but this is the type of things that this is the type of stuff that's going on, you guys. Let's check this out. Whatever.
Now you see how blurry that still image is. You see how blurry, like you cannot even see the trees, right? You can't even see the trees. It looks like a big green blur. And let me show you this picture of it as well. You see again, you see how blurry that is. You can't even see the writing on the dumpster. Like everything is a blur. Look at the trees and everything. But I'm going to show you some other photos from another news clip where they are much clearer, which shows that these photos that they are showing at the news conference have been doctored.
Fires was shot on this individual is chasing a different individual further out this way, in this direction. Okay. As this officer is chasing him, he sees a firearm in his hand and he yells, "Gun, gun, he's got a gun." This individual slips, trips, whatever, falls on the concrete right here. Other officers that were also there say in their interview, they heard the firearm hit the concrete. They heard the metal from the firearm hit the concrete.
Now she just said it was 2 officers. Okay. Now she's saying it was other officers there that heard the firearm. Now, which one is it? Was it multiple officers, then 2? Or were there 2 officers, one chasing one guy and the other chasing this main guy that supposedly has the gun from behind? Now she's saying that there's other officers that were there that heard the gun hit the ground.
This individual gets up, still has a firearm in his hand, and continues to run through the dumpsters.
Now, who falls and still got the gun in their hand? Come on now.
All right, so you actually now, you see how clear that picture is, a little clearer, but it's still blurry. Look how clear that picture is, but it's still blurry. And here's a still shot of that picture. Now you see how clear those trash cans are as opposed to these pictures right here. You see how blurry that one is, and you see how clear that.
Now, why the officer was chasing him, but there were only 2 officers. So this whole recount of what's happening is not even the truth there anyway. First of all, if you say that there's two officers. One was chasing directly after the guy. Then you have the one officer that was chasing another person. But then all of a sudden, this other person appears that's over here on the right-hand side that says something that is, see, they're not even getting their own story correct.
This is the other officer who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene.
Watch this, you guys. Watch this. This is going to blow your mind. Watch this. Watch.
All right, so I'm about to show y'all something. You see how they conveniently move the camera right when they show this officer's body cam footage of him lively shooting the young man. And this is the last image that they showed you. This image right here. That is the last image that they showed you. But
that is the image that they've been putting on the news. And I want you guys, it's going to surprise you when you see the truth. So watch this. Watch this.
This is actually where the shooting happened. This is a never before seen photo.
That is where the shooting happened.
Wow.
And you can see the smoke coming out of the gun. You can see everything. You can see that he has his back turned away from the officer.
Yep.
He is running away from the officer. There's no threat of him trying to turn around and shoot the officer. Now, what the news will make you seem like is that he had his pistol facing toward the officer as he was running. But as you can see, is that when this guy's thing was discharged, he's not pointing toward the dumpster. He's pointing towards a tree. And this guy is about, I would say, at least like 3 feet away from the dumpster. And he's facing away from him, running from the officer. You understand?
Yeah.
This is the type of nonsense that they put out here. And now you can see why that father was upset. You understand? Now you can see the real reason why this father is upset.
That is the actual shooting of the young man. You can clearly see his back is turned to the officer. Looks like he has on a book bag. And you can actually see the fire coming from his gun.
This is tomorrow. We're going to go into this. We're going to go into
why did they stop the photo here?
See this? They're showing everybody that.
You know why? Because that doesn't fit the narrative that the officer felt threatened for his life.
Right.
That is what they did to us. Now I'm going to show you the other news clip that does the exact same thing, but their photos are much clearer.
Does he
from the trees? Look how different these pictures are.
Are they saying he had the gun?
Do you
Are
see?
they saying he still had a gun?
No, he didn't have no gun. Look at this.
This is that picture still.
See this right here. Look, I'm gonna just pause it. Do you see a gun? Hold on, let me zoom.
I don't see nothing.
Nah.
He's running. He's just running.
Right.
And see, you see, this white thing is the garbage can. He's running. It's his hand, and his other hand. There, he's running. That's crazy. See,
that is from the news station as opposed to these pictures, right? Look at this. Look at these pictures. This is pretty much the same situation. You see how? And also, do you notice this white thing right here? Okay,
right.
So they're trying to say that this little white thing is him running with a pistol in his hand, and that the police mistook this white little piece right here as a gun pointing towards him. Let's go.
Blurry that is. Look how clear that is.
You see this?
Yeah.
He's running, and there is a whole. It's that little white thing right here is where they're saying that was a gun pointing toward him.
That's what they're trying to say.
Clear. You got to watch this. Blurry, clear. Now, I think we all get the picture. Let's play the rest of the video. This is where they're going to stop it.
Stop it right there.
Now, did y'all hear that? They
see how they stopped the video right at this point. Didn't show that he
kept running.
You understand what I'm saying? That's crazy. So he had his pistol pulled out on him when he was here. The guy ran about 3 more feet. This officer turned his pistol towards this guy as he was running and shot him in his back. This is why the father is upset. Anyone seeing this would be like, "What in the world?" So it went. So watch this. So watch this now.
Stopped it at this photo here. Clearly, he's not looking at the officer. He's not pointing a gun at him. But they stopped it here to make it seem like that is where he was shot. But as we know now, from this picture,
he was shot.
This is where the young man was actually shot. This is insidious and pure
Look how
evil.
far he was from here.
Insidious.
This is where he was.
And pure evil.
Boom. So now that we have context, right? Now that we have context, we understand why a father would be so upset. Why would this father be upset? Why would he lash out the way that he did? Okay. Why would he lash out? Why would this father right here? And then they're even saying that he wasn't the one that was driving the car. That's going to be something I'm going to talk about a little bit later on. But let's go into what Tariq and she had to say about the situation. So they're trying to create a whole narrative to incite a race war. Now let me show you what happened with these young little white kids when they had a gun. This is crazy. Watch this.
Oh, I saw that.
But just watch these two young boys.
This shit is crazy. Look, they have a gun.
Look how gentle they are. He has his finger
gun.
on the trigger. They're talking to him. Hey, buddy, please put it on the ground.
He said he has his hand on the trigger.
Hey guys, put the gun down. If you need someone else come back for it. It's okay. You're not in trouble, buddy.
Just put it down.
You're not in trouble, buddy.
You're not in trouble, buddy.
I know. Can you put it down for
So they have a drone watching them to make sure and to protect them, to make sure. Well, he's the next one has it. They're reporting back to the police. This is drone footage.
Look at him. He's holding the gun in a threatening manner. Look at him, ready to shoot. And these police are still, put it down, buddy. Tell me if that was a black kid, would he still be alive?
Nope, he was shot.
Can you put it on the ground for him, bud?
And it's a loaded gun, bro. At any point, if he don't know what he's doing, he can shoot his own brother.
Yeah, he could have just
Shoot himself. He don't even know what my thing is. Why won't the kids listen to the parents? What is going on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What is going on?
Where did these kids get this gun from?
Go ahead and 40. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Why? Y'all do it so many times to young black kids. And not that I want to see these young white kids get shot, but seeing what we just saw with Tamir Rice, you have to ask that question: why have they not been shot yet?
Just wait. Let's try to keep talking with them.
Just wait. Keep talking. Tamir Rice never got a word out. They never did anything to prevent Tamir Rice with a toy gun. These guys have a real live firearm and they're positioning like they look like they're ready to have a standoff in the shootout with police. They never dropped the gun.
Passing it back and forth. Passing the gun back and forth.
Eugene, put it down, man, okay? Can you put it down for me?
Like it's a toy.
Look at this. Oh my God. Lord
Can you do that for me? Because you're doing a really good job right now.
They're not doing a good job. What are you coming? They're not doing a good job. What do you see? What are these parents saying? Like, if you don't put that down, put the fucking. If you don't put that down, I'm gonna whoop your ass. He could have shot himself. He could have. Anything could have happened.
You see
what's going on?
They
here?
want to knock it out of their arm. Now 40 is like rubber or bean bullets. It's not.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Yeah, man.
What are we watching? What?
This is nuts.
Put that shit down and whoop your ass. I probably would have got shot just getting mad, cussing at them. Like, if you don't put that motherfucking gun down,
Like you done already got me in trouble. You done got your parents a case.
Okay, buddy. All right, just put it down, buddy. All right,
No way.
sweetheart. We love you. Fuck that. If you don't put that goddamn gun down, I'll whoop your ass.
Nervous. It wouldn't even. Mama would have walked over there and grabbed that.
Yeah.
Probably would have gotten shot in the process because they crazy.
The little kids. Stay back, Mom.
No, mommy. Man, if you guys get the chance, go check that out. I'm gonna put the link into it. Go check that out. It's but I know y'all getting tired. It's 3 hours in. We have been doing the work, okay? But I think the next live we're gonna do is start to talk about some real law and order type stuff. And Baba, he's really involved with the government and things like that. In his community. We're fixing to go into all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go into law, government, order, all that stuff. So, and I would love for you to come back, Isa.
Yeah, but give a chance to look up that book if you don't mind. The Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion. See if you can find it online.
The protocols.
Just look online if you can find. If you don't, let me know. We'll try to get you a copy. But it's and you get it. It's loaded. It ain't but 70 pages.
What's the name of it? The protocols of what?
The Protocol of the Learned Elders of Zion. This is the playbook. It makes Project 2025 look like a joke.
What is it? Is it the protocols of the elders of Zion?
I have it on the thing.
On the
I see it.
elders of Zion.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so we're almost in the 4 hours, y'all.
Let me get him.
We're 3 hours and 30 minutes in. This has been good.
Oh my God. What time are you doing that stream tomorrow?
6 o'clock Central and 7 Eastern.
Okay.
Yeah, please come up. Yeah, please come up. We need to really talk about this. Get down to the bottom of it, so
Definitely.
Much love. I appreciate you guys being here.
I appreciate you and the platform, the work that you do, and allowing me to come up.
Much love. Shouts out. See you tomorrow.
All right, now Baba gone. He got up out.
Yeah, he ain't tired. He been tired. It's like almost 4 hours.
I know last time you played the money song and he disappeared on us.
You know what? I might have to go ahead and play that one again. Hold on, I didn't do that. Hold on.
There you go.
I might, even though I ain't make no money. Can somebody send me $2? Send me something on Cash App something.
What's the Cash App? I got you.
It's I'm gonna put it up here. Because but that's how much I don't be even doing this for money. I don't even have my damn Cash App up here right here. Here we go. Let's do that. All right, we're gonna put the money song up here.
There you go.
Yeah, listen, I take a lot of time doing this stuff. I do a lot of research, and I work with my elders. So we're gonna top it. Let's go ahead, y'all. Put the money in the Cash App, y'all. Much love.
Say that, like and subscribe too, for the algorithm.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
There you go.
All right, peace.
Peace.
To make money, money making money, money making money, money making money, money making money, manifest, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. I ain't stressed, making money, money making money, money making money, money making money. Gratitude is my attitude. I'm making money moves. Jewelry in the safe, piggy bank on full. And I'm living life abundant. I'm making money fast. I'm a money making magnet, making cold hard cash. I'm making money. Oh, I am blessed. On a mission, on a mission. Trying to get it right. Transition, changing the way that I see life. Transitioning mind. I'm on a mission, trying to get it right. I'm transitioning my life, making a transition. Ooh, making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, 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 ooh. Making a transition. Ooh, ooh. Trying to mission, I'm on a mission. On a mission, I'm trying to get it right. Changing the way that I see life. Transitioning my life. On a mission.